ask you guys something. Let's see here. Hannah, Michael, Irving Cartman, that was the Pura Vida guy?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. No, because I saw this massive complaint, $4 million, $11 million
Against us?
against, Franco Investments LLC versus Pine Run Developers, Landmark Investments. Final judgment, so I'm guessing you guys have to cough up or pay. I saw every name but Eric's.
Wait, what?
Is that us?
No.
Guessing?
It's against us?
I asked the
Against
guy from the
us?
office. Yeah, they said.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the first time I'm hearing this. For 11 million, you said?
One of them was for 11 million. A couple of them were for 4.8 or 4.7,
Okay.
and the last one was
Consistent, that's-
yeah. There was some
That's
couple for 7 million.
That's from 2010.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with us.
Oh, so it's not. Then why did the guy from the office tell me that yeah, he knew all about it?
He might knew, but it's nothing to do with us.
There's nothing to do with us.
So we're not being run by a crime family.
No, I'm not knowledge, but
Okay.
Amount of $3 million plus for treasury.
Another building, it's something.
Because I looked up Irving Cartman, Michael 11, Hannah 11, and all this stuff came up. Lots and lots of stuff came up.
Do we know Franco Investment?
No,
It's
we
nothing to do
don't.
with us.
And it's before we ever
Yeah,
used
we
2010.
didn't need know that in
Well,
2010.
at
This
least
is like
at least you know about Irving Cartman.
7 years ago. Michael Levine too.
Ah, here's a breakdown. Okay. Mike 11, 11,798,273.97. 6% interest on them paid off. Han 11, $4,672,849.31. 6% interest until paid off. Irving Cartman, $4,672,849.31. Looks like it was 3 million, one big blob, and then each one got slapped like an extra million or so to get to the 4 million and change.
I think we have enough problems on our own to take
yeah,
care
we
of
have
these
enough.
problems.
Yeah, we have
So if this is the Irving Cartman that we all know and love,
Oh, that's
you
the
might want
same
to look
one.
into this.
yeah, it doesn't really matter. He's suing us actually. So we have the opposite.
We don't know them.
No, we don't love him. And actually he's suing us. It's the other way around.
Well, at least
Yeah.
if it's him, then you know.
Yeah,
Oh, we just stole our generators,
Oh.
so we know now.
yeah.
Because he got busted for, the whole bunch of them got busted for breach of fiduciary duty, conspiracy, and
Then
of
it's
course,
not the first
civil
time.
theft.
It's not the first time.
Okay.
So that's
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They were
Yeah.
all in,
leading the same action. So.
yeah, Franco Investments LLC versus Pine Run Developers, Landmark Investments. And here it's Michael 11, Hannah 11, Jose Corquidi, Max Carlos Letterman, Jaques Aguion, and Irving Cartman. And he said something about, the Aventura. Because there was a property transfer between Michael Levin and Eric Levin. How many Eric Levins are there in?
Where is Eric?
What
Eric
is
is
that?
involved
I don't
too?
know.
I looked.
I've never seen this.
I looked at that in when I was looking up in the
property
Florida thing. I looked up
Yeah.
in the Florida, I was looking to see what I could
Yeah.
find between
Yeah.
who and who,
Yeah.
and I found the transfer from one to the other. I was always confused because I assumed that when I saw the names, I thought it was brothers. Then I found out no,
Yeah.
father,
Eric is the
son,
son.
Yeah, yeah.
and that was my confusion. 'Cause it was a quick claim deed
Okay,
from Michael and Hannah to Eric.
okay.
Or
For
the
for
other
what?
way.
What year?
It was a property. It was like 2014, 2016. I looked at the property. It was a property up in Aventura. It was like 400 grand.
Could be the home? Eric's home?
It's their son. So
The home?
they can
Yeah,
give
I
it
think
to
it
their
was
son.
the home.
Why not?
Yeah, Eric's home, I think,
Yeah.
was a gift from the father.
I looked all this up after I got the info on Maria's lawsuit.
Yeah.
Thanks. That you're the was in?
Well, was that you? I
Yeah,
emailed it to you.
$15,000 for a screw. Why didn't you guys go after Sears? You know they would have the money.
Who?
Sears. They were the ones that made the delivery.
Deliveries.
Sears.
Just choose a more convenient target.
No, it's not about that. You just need to be respectful and that's it.
Oh, Here, here's the court, here's the case numbers in case you need them.
Okay, so take those case numbers to have them, but it doesn't have anything to do with us,
So to be absolutely clear, you guys know nothing about this?
but I have absolutely
Nothing? Okay.
How do we know? This is from 2010. We didn't even know him in 2010.
I would have thought you guys would have done at least a quick Google search on Irving Cartman. It's weird too when I was looking through all the pages that I got from you guys, you're the lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Out of the 500 and some pages that I got, only one had his name, and that was from the gas company. It's like it slipped in by mistake. Everywhere else it was Pura Vida, two other guys. It's like he's a ghost in the paperwork. I found his name by accident.
So you're a Mexican guy.
Irving?
You're a Mexican guy.
Yeah, but in the paperwork, you look, his name's nowhere.
Right.
If somebody from outside looks at it,
Yeah.
it's like he was never here, except thanks to the gas company.
Pura Vida, I mean?
For
The name
Irving
is not-
Cartman, the old guy from
Yeah.
Pura Vida.
It isn't Pura Vida. It's under Micah's name.
Yeah, but
It's
that's something.
under Irving.
No, I'm saying Irving
It's under
Cartman.
Michael Levine.
No.
He's like Kaiser Soze. Doesn't
Yeah,
exist.
no, it's not. It's his wife, I think.
Right now?
I think it's his wife.
It's under Irving, Pura Vida.
Yeah.
Right now.
Okay. So he's the one
According
suing
to
us.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is just.
Did you by any chance bring a copy of the demand letters? I won't take a picture. I just want to see.
The same paper.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
I can
yeah,
tell you
maybe
that
we should
there-
put it some
there
minutes
are.
there. It's a town hall. This is a town hall. Yeah.
So they actually exist.
And if
Yeah.
there is a lawsuit filed, then it might become part of the record in the lawsuit.
All right.
Then
But the reason I can give it to you now is because it's considered a work product privilege document. And if there is litigation, if I give it to you now, it's considered a waiver of that privilege. So for whatever reason, if we were to want to keep that out of evidence, we need to keep that privilege intact. So it very well may become part of the record in a subsequent litigation, but right now,
If it ever
It
does
would be.
become part of the record, would you be a dear and slip me a link?
it-
At that point, it'll be public
Yeah,
record.
I'll keep the board abreast
We
of
don't
the
have no
litigation.
issue, but it's a problem. We have to defend.
No, I'll wait till it's
protect the
public
building,
record, like you said.
Yeah,
Right.
we have to protect the building. This is the problem. It's the same thing with everything.
And I'm not,
It's
The
about
problem is, I
protecting the
sit here
building.
all day and people ask me constantly, since I'm part of the parking committee, what's going on, and I gotta tell them, I have no clue.
Yes, but we have to do it this way because we can't have people going there and giving information out they're not supposed to do.
and actually, I can tell you this much, that after we sent the demands, there were more than one actually. After we sent the second one, I believe it was after the second one, he had the audacity to file a $500,000 lien
On the
against
building.
this property.
So that's part of the 700,000 in checks that I haven't seen?
So maybe, I think it was 512,000 approximately is the lien amount that he's alleging Bayshore owes him.
No one? No one was there?
Not only in our
There was nobody there.
view of fraudulent lien,
No, we never had
but if he ever
like that.
attempts to foreclose on it, I mean, it's gonna be vigorously defended because,
Yeah.
The problem is when people try to make sales, you know how tight-fisted the banks are. They're gonna go, no, we're not gonna.
no, it's creating, I mean,
Nation.
as if there weren't enough issues in transfer of interest for this building already. This is another obstacle that's going to become a problem for people selling property, especially if the buyers are financing the purchase. It's going to be very difficult for them to go with a conventional lender to, you know, write a mortgage for a unit in this property because title insurance is going to be a problem. You know, obtaining a title insurance policy when you have.
I worked with realtors, I worked with title agencies.
Right.
I know all the stuff, and once they see anything like this,
So you get it. Yeah, it's an absolute obstacle to conveyance of property. So.
what with all the troubles with the Airbnbs, that every advertisement's basically admission of a violation. First one's $250, second one's $500. After that is
Right. Well, okay, so with respect to the short-term rentals, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the amended pleading.
Yeah, it's like 40-some pages.
Yeah, we've taken the position with the city that their ordinance regarding vacation rentals and the whole application process,
Yeah, it's nuts.
as applied to Bayshore specifically, is unconstitutional. Bayshore is a unique property in that our zoning is split.
You know,
You know,
I'm lucky,
yeah,
I'm on the
so,
good side.
yeah. So as applied to Bayshore, it's an arbitrary application of the ordinance. We're taking the position that we don't fall under the ordinance because of our zoning, number one, and it's something that any Bayshore resident should be able to go to the city, make an application, and have it approved. We're hoping that that part of the lawsuit will be resolved rather quickly.
But when they counter-argue, said, since Coletta was never able to run a business along the full stretch of it, because it was residential, it was commercial, it was whatever, they'll try and waste our time individually with everyone saying, no, you guys are special. Thanks to Coletta, thanks to all the litigation from before. And they'll tie us up for years and years with every poor bastard that tries to buy a unit.
Yeah, the city's position towards Bayshore, just generally,
They hate us.
has, at one point, it was decent, even after the filing of this lawsuit. In 2016, we had, towards the end of 2016, after we, that's right about when
Yeah.
I came on board along with Tom Robertson, we developed a good working relationship with the city officials and the city attorney to where, you know, we started making a little bit of headway with the parking situation here. We removed the tennis courts. We got the permits that we needed to get the ramp, to do the demolition. We had submitted parking plans in May that was unanimously approved by the commissioners. I think you were at that city hall meeting in May of 2017.
Yeah, there was that
They
one
were
page
holding
thing.
our parking citations. They weren't sending it to the county for processing. So we were making pretty good steps in the right direction for a while. That has since eroded. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of turnover at City Hall.
I know.
There's
I did a spreadsheet, it was like 3 pages long, and it was not even 10 years worth.
Right. So with the turnover, there was also new council at City Hall, so they have new attorneys there.
I saw the video where he got kicked out. She was like, oh, by the way, you're fired.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been there every day
But-
like Michael and Stephen have been there quite a bit, and you've been there quite a bit, so you see firsthand what's going on. I'm not there every day, so I don't see it, but you know, they relay the information to me, and then I can tell by our communication, our meaning myself and Tom Robertson, our communication with City Hall has definitely been very different over the last 8 months versus before with the prior council and with the prior village manager. With that said, you know, we still tried to maintain that relationship and make it workable so we can make headway without spending an arm and a leg in court. You know, part of the reason for moving away from the prior law firm was you guys were getting bills that were 5 figures monthly. And sometimes even more, you know, high 5-figure attorney fee invoices. And so, you know, we took a step in a different direction to work with the city, to come to agreements where we could, and only leave the litigation for things we absolutely could not agree on. It was working for a while, and even with the new council, you know, we went there to City Hall, we had a meeting with them. Everyone was friendly. It was a meeting that went in the right direction. Yeah.
Have we begun the meeting yet, or are we?
No, it's at town hall. So there's a town hall, so we can just.
It's less formal, it's a town
Yeah.
hall.
Okay.
Yeah. So
All right, so then, gentlemen,
Michal Patel, I represent the
he's
association.
spoken on the telephone, a man from New York, so he sent emails.
Okay, Frank. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
And
So this is your document?
I don't know what
The
you're on.
the amended, the complaint.
Amended pleading, I co-drafted along with
Great
co-counsel.
document, by the way. Thank you.
I appreciate that, thank you. We tried, I mean, we really, really tried to hold off on filing this amended pleading because we were trying to work with the city. Unfortunately, we were given many promises that just didn't come through. We tried to give them the benefit of the doubt, understanding that there was a lot of turnover there, so it might have been a situation where the right hand wasn't talking to the left, or, you know, the right communication wasn't working its way down the ladder. In April, we had a meeting, I think, this year, at City Hall with the city attorney and other building officials about the parking and the pavers up front specifically. At the meeting, okay, we were told that give us a plan about your estimated time of completion with the pavers and with the parking, and once you submit that plan to us, we'll give you a green light or yellow light or red light, and we'll tell you how to proceed, okay? Now on May 14th, or thereabouts, I received a letter from the city attorney saying, we received your plan, you absolutely need to take care of the pavers in the front immediately. Start immediately, okay? I think 2 or 3 days later, Michael had lined up a contractor, we were good to go on the pavers, we start working, a building official comes by and gives us a stop work order, okay?
I watched what happened.
Yeah.
They were going beautifully with the stones, and then for whatever reason, he decided to do that big ditch.
So,
Massive violation.
so there,
What's the big ditch? This was, the
No,
city
no,
said
this
that
is
to put it.
recently,
So-
when they said, well, you can still put the pavers.
No,
Right.
but I'm talking about the first stop order that they had brushed down the ground. They pounded it down. They were putting in the blocks, and then he decided to, put in the electrical, and then they went pop.
mind you that this all started because of a pipe burst, right? So we were replacing the piping.
I remember it was like this. It was like an old man's arteries.
Subsequent to a violation that the city had issued, right? So the city gives us a violation, or we have a super high water bill. I mean, it was
No,
enormous.
there was a violation.
Both. There was a violation.
Violation
5 million
and-
gallons.
And the going to the pipe.
So we're taking measures to address that, mitigate our damages, control the leak. We uproot it all. Michael wants to put pavers after it's all done to make the facade of the building look nicer.
And they finalized do the final inspection.
And the final
Yeah.
inspection and the fountain as well. We start doing that, stop work order. Okay, the meeting at City Hall, we submit our plans. City attorney writes me a letter, you need to take care of the pavers ASAP, it's a dangerous condition, yada yada. Okay, 3 days later, Michael hires a contractor, we start doing that again, stop work order from building official. Okay, this is the type of behavior that has been going on since May now of this year, and it seems like we take 2 steps forward, 3 steps back with the city this
Michelle,
year.
forgive me. I know that you're going through the history, but I just quickly read through the papers. You've got a writ of abandonments for parking permits.
Yes.
And then there's a declaration with respect to using Airbnbs.
Yes.
What else is there?
There's several counts. So there's a declaration regarding the parking regulation,
Yes.
which is
But
kind
it's
of like the
related to
original.
hotels and
Yeah.
permits,
That's
yeah.
part of like the original lawsuit.
Right.
It was cast in a different light. Prior counsel had filed it as a constitutional action. The very first hearing that, this is before I was retained, but the very first hearing where Michael Hyman argued there, my understanding is the judge brought the hammer down hard and said, I'm going to give you a chance to amend this, but let me tell you that this isn't looking like the right direction to have this lawsuit. So since then, we've amended the pleading for a declaration action saying that the ordinance as applied to Bayshore is not something where Bayshore residents should be precluded from decal. So first we're trying to get the decal back opened up, okay, to Bayshore residents.
But let me,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, again, I just want to say, it's time to ask you a question, I know some of the answers. Initially, there was an issue of the city not agreeing with us on the decals and permits because we were suing them. And,
No,
That's not
No.
true.
not true.
That was
okay,
never.
The
well, that's
position
what
they took-
the attorney who, and you're right, I mean, the representation was like really, really poor.
I'm not, s-
Yeah.
I'm not
But,
gonna
no,
take- yeah.
But he, I mean, it was not a forceful representation. So, and the discussion that we were getting was that the city was angry at us and they wouldn't work with us unless we dropped a lawsuit. So, I mean, is there a lawsuit seeking damages, or is there an issue of attorney's fees for the city regarding that first lawsuit?
no. That's not my understanding of why they weren't issuing decals. The position that they've taken is that Bayshore is not entitled, its residents are not entitled to decals because the site plan that the city has Bayshore providing on-site parking. So they're saying we're not an eligible building, okay? Since then, we've had a site plan, a revised site plan submitted to the city, approved unanimously by the commissioners for the construction of our parking lot back here. With the idea in mind, and plans have been submitted to build a multi-story garage
This has to be done, yeah.
so we can accommodate all of our residents.
Yeah.
So now we're taking the position that the city has a revised site plan that has Bayshore providing parking, but not complete parking for the entire residents. So
But they never have.
now we should be entitled, under the new site plan, we should be entitled to decals.
Okay, so let me just understand.
I
So,
find a flaw in that because they require 140 cars for Bayshore, not 158.
But they approved the other site plan.
Is 158, so it provides for everyone in the building.
But our revised site plan would now bring the non-conforming use to less non-conforming, and that should make us an eligible building, as the ordinance is drafted right now. The way we should be eligible for
So less
decals.
non-conforming means how many spots in the revised site plan?
Right now, the open lot has 40.
No, okay, so but they're saying we need 140 parkings, and so we have taken care of that, because it's better to be safe than sorry. But we're trying to get away with I think it's 55 in the back there, right? Or
Right
something,
now.
Okay,
Right.
so when you say less conforming, so.
Less
so-
non-conforming.
Less
That's not
non-conforming,
right,
okay,
yeah.
so there's an issue of whether we're gonna get the decals and the permit, and you've got a written mandamus for that. And if we were to get that, what type of relief would we get in terms of the number of parking spaces that we must?
Okay, okay, for a new building, they told us that we need 220 parking for a new building, okay? So they were coming there and asking us for 220 parkings in the city.
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that, but I'm asking.
But we never had
I'm
more than
asking-
140.
But we submitted a new site plan, and
Yeah.
I'm asking how many parking spots we had asked
That would,
for approval for in the new site plan,
Yeah.
and the relevance and the connection of, that to the writ of amendments for the
Okay.
cows.
so that one would give 157, but but we have, there's a last alternative. If you read the lawsuit, they have actually approved us. The
And
non-conforming
it's
site
come
plan.
back. But Michael, I don't understand.
Yeah.
They've approved it, they at one point approved our plan to build the garage, and then that's in question. We submitted a site plan.
Yeah.
You're now going to court and asking the judge to mandate that they let us use the cows. So how much relief will that get us if we get?
Okay, so they calculated for 220 in the building, so that's the only numbers from the city. So the conforming, so either way it goes, 220, 140, so there's a difference between there, it will be
It was
80.
140,
Yeah.
that was the conforming,
Yeah.
140.
140, yeah.
And-
But
Okay, so don't say
they all say,
200
no, the city
conforming
themselves,
was
okay.
140 based on the fact that that's how how many cars we had at the time. Paula Guzman was in the office, and the city requested the list of every person in the building that had a car, and there was one.
And those meetings,
Which
they
is
requested us to
comparable
act.
to what we had with Alcoleta in the parking lot. It was 135.
And that was not enough. That was not enough for the building. That was not enough for the building.
You know, but I don't want to go back 10 or 15 years ago. You're mixing up the issue. I asked, how many parking spots are we asking for in the new writ, that we, the new petition, and the relevance of that to your asking for a mandamus in the court, enabling us to use the cows, and whether if we get to the cows, then how many
We
spots?
would like to be treated like the other buildings around the island. We have the neighbor building here, they have 3 decals as many as
But
they want.
Michael, I'm asking you,
We
file
haven't pled,
papers.
we haven't pled a specific
Yeah.
number of decals.
Okay.
We're
Right now.
leaving it open,
Yeah.
and we're hoping that the court will see it the way we do, is that everyone should be entitled to decals, because we don't have assigned spaces here. Like, residents don't have assigned spots, so, I mean, it's gonna be a free-for-all either way, right? So we're not gonna limit ourselves in the pleading by asking for a number of spots. We're gonna keep it open so that every Bayshore resident should be
Yeah,
eligible.
no, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I just want to be clear. I'm not asking you how many spots we asked decals for. I'm asking whether, given that we are asking the court to issue a mandate the city to give us the cows, and assuming that they give us a wide and open permit, then what would be the impact of that on our developing the garage, and how many spots would we need to do?
Oh, it shouldn't impact that, because it should be a separate, the ordinance for the parking regulation and our own requirements should not intersect. It's a little bit problematic long-term, because space is limited anyway, right? So even if we get the decals, it only gets us so far. Ultimately, we need to construct a garage to make ends meet. But we're not limiting ourselves in terms of what we're asking the court to grant us. We just want to be treated like every other.
Okay, so we need to build the
Association.
garage because it's what we responsible to do for the needs
Of the
owner,
association,
as
yeah.
opposed to the city telling us you have to build a garage. for the
Absolutely. Right.
Frank, what we're asking for is to be treated exactly the same as a neighbor. The next building, next to us, the neighbor building, they have free amount of decals from the city. We're asking for the same treatment as everybody else, nothing else, okay?
And
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, there really, we've exhausted every other. I mean, this is our only option at this point. We're being sued by an owner, okay, to mandate us back to going into an agreement that we can't afford.
Right.
All right, and we're plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the city only because we're not getting cooperation. Mind you, this lawsuit has been sitting for a while with little activity because we had a working relationship with the city for a while. We've reached a point of an impasse in working with them. We've been very patient in understanding their turnover at City Hall, giving them the benefit of the doubt on a lot of things, but eventually, I mean, we can only wait so long. You guys can only handle so much construction at once, and we can't let it go on
They were
forever.
never going to do that.
Yeah.
I spoke to the mayor during the elections, but I think that this guy Brett, what is his name, Latham? I think he'll bring in a different administration.
We're hopeful. We're hopeful, and the approach that Tom and I have taken is very different from prior council in that we're going to try to seek non-litigious paths before we go to court. It's not always feasible. Michael was very patient before pulling the trigger on this amended pleading. He waited maybe 2 months to, give the city every opportunity to, work with them and
Are
make
we
it
asking
happen.
damages here? I don't want.
We're I can only say so much about litigation strategy, and I don't want to get into the detail of it, but right now, we're just trying to get the court to order the city officials to do things for us. Damages, I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, but right now we're focusing on getting a court order, on getting the writs primarily.
Can you share how the judge, is it the same judge or they?
So that's a good question, because initially, the first judge on this that heard the motion for injunctive relief from Michael Hyman did not have very good things to say about our strategy, okay? Now, there's a separate judge hearing the Coletta case. I have filed a motion to transfer this case to be heard before the same judge that's hearing the Coletta case, because I think it's important for him to see us being squeezed from both sides. I think it's going to be very helpful for us. That judge in the Coletta case has been, I think, pretty fair. We had a recent ruling that went against us in August, but we're having that set for a rehearing.
What ruling was that?
There was a motion for partial summary judgment on some of the counts in the Coletta case that we just feel the judge didn't have the benefit of the full record at the original hearing. That's being handled by insurance counsel. We're having that a motion for rehearing November 29th.
29, I think so.
I believe is the hearing date for that. So we're hopeful that the judge will take a different position on that. But I think it's important for one judge to hear both cases, because he can really then understand that, look, we're doing what we can here, but we're having obstacles with the city, and it's important for the city judge to also hear we're getting sued by a unit owner here to, get us back in an agreement that we can't afford. Yes.
I understand that the discussion is about the city and the parking,
Yeah.
but if we know that we're having issues being granted the decals, there's only a specific amount of cars that will fit in the back, and soon Sakura is going to start, I believe, construction, as I can see. I don't know date. Once they start construction, understand that we are renting a parking permit. What period do we have remaining, and if they cut our contract, where are we going to stand if we don't have enough parking in the back and we don't have decals?
That's a good question.
So that's why we sued the city, and beforehand, before it happens.
That's fine,
There's-
we're
there's
suing
a-
the city, but
Before it happens.
time,
There's a licensing agreement in place for us to use that parking lot. I believe the termination clause is 60 days notice, so it's not a lot of time. That's the most they were willing to do, because anyone that buys that property doesn't want to have it tied down to a licensing agreement, right? So they want to be able to get out of it so they can develop it. I mean, initially they wanted like 15 days, so I think,
and where would all the, I don't know what's the capacity, 55, Mike, is it 55 parking lots?
In the back there, yeah. In the back there, yeah.
So where would everybody else remain? Let's say if I come late at night.
Yeah, but that's like you say. That's why we filed a lawsuit to
We're
the
trying to-
15.
we're trying
We
to
have
get
a
the
grandfathered in
details.
right to have a parking on the street. We never had full parking. We never had full parking in this building, okay? And it's a grandfathered right to have street parking. And they have also approved the site plan.
to answer your question, there's no good result
Exactly.
for parking.
We don't
If
have
that
enough
license-
space
if
where
that
to park
license-
if that happens.
If that license terminates, the other option is a free-for-all on the street. And that's why we need the decal, so we at least don't get cited for parking on the street. The construction here should be moving forward if we didn't recently run into issues with the city officials merging our permits together, putting stop work orders. I mean, it's been a
We had
nightmare.
we had a permit. Listen, guys, we had a permit to build a parking garage. Just so you guys know that. They gave us the permit to build a parking garage, a one-floor parking. Then they said, and we asked for a permit for the front of the building. In May last year, we got the
Separate
front.
permits.
Yeah, and it was separate permits. In February, the city decided, no, you have to, the parking garage and the front of the building is one permit. And then they said, oh, you have to put $1 million bond if you want to put the front of the building back.
Oh, we had the presentation, that we have the whole thing at once? I remember the
Okay,
presentation, showed
but-
everything.
Yes,
There-
that's a site plan. Yeah, it doesn't have,
And where
the
are
parking,
we gonna
parking
park
has nothing to do with the front of the building. It's separate.
So Mike, where
Yeah.
would we park while they are building the 3 floors?
Well, they have to give us a street parking.
I mean, we have to cross that bridge when we come to it, really,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we need
Yeah.
to at least get the lot.
They've never sent the notice.
But we shouldn't wait until that moment arrives.
No, we are not waiting for that moment to arrive.
Where to park.
That's what we're not doing. Because I have the documents to see now. We are not waiting.
I have two questions. One, you filed that amended complaint October 30th.
Yes.
So how long will you expect a response?
So,
Because the city has to respond, right?
yes.
Okay.
I've spoken to
That's a
them.
good question. So, when you amend a pleading, you have to ask the court for approval, okay? The other side can agree to your amended pleading,
Or opposed?
or they can go, they would make us set our motion for hearing, and then we'd argue it before the court. I'm fairly confident that if we had to go to a hearing on this, that it would go in our favor. I actually had an email exchange with opposing counsel this morning, seeing if he would just agree to our motion. He's going to get back to me, I think, by tomorrow, so we'll have a response one way or another. And if not, if he doesn't agree, then we're going to have to set it for hearing.
30-day hearing at
But
30 days?
the hearing, I mean, it can be set within 2 weeks. It's a motion calendar hearing, which means it requires very little time from the court, maybe 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So those are heard very frequently.
Right.
This type of motion is pretty freely granted. It's a very liberal standard. The idea being that, you know, things happen during the course of litigation, so you might need to come in and amend and
We're
add
looking at
things, drop things.
Thanksgiving, right? And then
Yeah.
we're going to be in the holidays December, so.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm hoping that at least before the end of the year, we'll have an answer
Okay.
to our amended pleading.
Michelle, I'm looking at, excuse me.
I have one more other question.
Please.
The question has to do with this zoning. I'm a little confused about this map because it shows a commercial as only being this little section.
Right.
But you're saying that there's half of that. I don't see it on this map.
So, well, you're seeing half commercial, right?
I'm not even seeing half commercial on this thing.
The south east part of the property is a different zone than the rest of the property. It's a
but
very,
It's a sliver.
it's more than a sliver. It's a little more than a
About
sliver.
40% of the building.
Yeah.
This is 40%?
Believe it or not, yeah.
What?
So,
Really?
our position is that, you know, enforcement of that ordinance, the
I
short-term rental ordinance, is being unlawfully
This is
applied.
what threw me. I was like, I'm looking at this and there's no way, where does it start and where does it end?
To be honest, I don't think I've seen something like this on a condo building before.
Okay.
It's very unique.
All right,
But
that's
Yeah,
my question.
related to that, I'm trying to understand, and I know that there's some owners who would be thrilled if they declared this to be a half hotel and half residential. But what I'm trying to understand is your pleading indicating that we've operated like that, we've been regulated as a hotel. I mean, have we? And
No.
So the history of the building, I don't have the full scope of the history, to be frank with you. I know that there,
It used to be a hotel, very simple.
1963, yes.
Yeah, initially when it was.
long time ago, right?
And then in 1978, it became a condominium
Right.
residential use, right?
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Page
The-
1 of the condo docs.
Okay, so if you read those condo docs, you can see what the city approved in those condo docs.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to understand.
So our position
Because
is that they've
the
never
pleading-
changed the way they've
Yeah,
regulated
your
us.
pleading number 89 says, Bayshore has traditionally been recognized as a general commercial through its historical function as a hotel and transient guest services are specially suited to the property. So I'm just trying to understand the pleading. So we're saying that,
We've never been treated otherwise. That's our position. There's,
Is there Maria wrong in terms of, at a certain point, the city changed our designation with respect to the zoning law?
our designation and enforcement of laws against us are different things. So our designation, yes, we have a declaration of condominium that's recorded. Obviously, we're a condominium association. But any of the laws and ordinances that have been enforced against us have never changed. Right? That's the position we're taking in the lawsuit.
But when the city denies our ability to use the cows, et cetera.
That's why we're saying that's improper.
But they're not, no, I understand that, but they're not, I mean, the city is not taking a position that, you know, you're a hotel and you didn't ask for the cows based upon your being a hotel.
They're saying we're not an eligible building.
They're saying we're not an eligible building because initially, way back when, I read those bylaws and certificate of incorporation, we incorporated as a hotel with parking. And
Right, there's a page in the declaration, I think as an attachment and an exhibit to the declaration that shows the adjacent lot as part of our site plan.
1998
So-
list.
So
Yeah,
they're
there's
saying,
amendment too.
so they're saying because of that submission, you provide on-site parking, you're not an eligible building for the decal program.
And do we own that lot?
No, we never owned it.
No.
So now,
We had an option to buy it, but for some odd reason, we never did.
Well, somebody else did.
so now because,
Yeah, they bugged it for 20 years for it.
I mean,
Exactly.
now you're
Not
combining
for nothing.
the,
And it was $2 million to get the key back.
you're combining a motion to have us deemed to be a commercial hotel
no,
with the parking and permit.
no, we're not asked to be deemed anything, we're just asked to be treated like an eligible building. We're taking the position, we're an eligible building under the parking regulation. And the reason for that is, we have a revised site plan now that's been unanimously approved by the commissioners in May 2017, wherein we provide parking on site, yes, but we don't provide enough for all the residents, so all of our residents need to be eligible for the decal program.
But you make allegations that we acted as a hotel when we didn't. In the first page of our
No, I said we
bylaws,
were
it says
treated.
residential use condominium.
We're treated, the way we're enforced, the laws are enforced against us have never been enforced any other way, any different way. It's always been enforced the same way.
But you allege that we acted as a hotel when we didn't.
We were, I think the allegation says specifically, we traditionally, let me find the paragraph. Frank, do you have the paragraph number?
It's 612, I mean, I just looked at I thought it was 68 was when we say that we've been traditionally recognized as general commercial. That's 60,
No, but we function
No.
as a hotel.
I'm sorry, it's
We know that we
89,
function
it's
as a
89.
hotel.
it's
Just read
89,
what it says.
it's 89, and then the specific reading starts, I think, at 85.
Bayshore has traditionally been recognized as general commercial.
There is another paragraph in which you say that we acted as a hotel.
Multiple family residential and general commercial space.
If you can point me to where I say we're a hotel, I can look at
I'll
it.
find it, give it the,
It's, it says it continues to function through its general commercial classification. It continues to function as a hotel and have aspects most common to hotels.
What number is that?
That's in the condo docs.
87, page 14.
The condo
If I
docs
can
and
That's
go
in
back.
that's in the condo docs.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah.
that when I bought,
Yeah.
that I could rent, if I wanted to, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I could rent it out as a hotel room.
which
You
we've
can.
never amended that provision in the condo doc.
Exactly.
That's how I read it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you
That's what
can.
we're saying. Yeah, and you can, because it's in there in the condo doc.
Which is a whole nother count in the, actually two counts going towards the short-term rental ordinance.
now, question is, the city saying that we can't run the Airbnb because of some reason, or they allow us to run the Airbnb provided we issue a license with the city?
My understanding is that someone was approved here.
Nobody yet.
No?
Nobody yet.
Didn't I see an
For-
email just
for
today?
Airbnb?
In process.
In
Yes.
process.
Yeah, they
Okay.
made it
That's
age,
the
age
problem.
The
10 years.
requirement
Yeah.
are so cumbersome that nobody can get approved.
No,
Because-
I went to the city, and they gave me all of this paperwork, and I went to see Stefan, Steven, I went to see you because one of the things that they were asking is the parking, the layout. They were asking for so many
For the
things
parking.
that you know. So when I went to the office,
It's
I'm not the
impossible.
That's
first
right,
one, I
that's-
haven't done it, but I like to comply with the law. I mean,
That's their grounds
Yeah.
for
everybody
denial,
here,
right?
so
You have to have
explain me
parking.
all the
Yeah. And they have the right to deny whatever they want to deny in their
that the
ground.
city is being asking.
Yeah.
So evidently you told me that in January they're gonna make a decision on this.
No, what I'm
When
saying
we
is
know
they're coming
where
up.
we
on
are.
We have new laws coming up from the state,
In
which
January.
everybody else, but it might not be in January, maybe February.
So
Yeah.
the next legislative session in Tallahassee, there's a lot of talk that there's going to be a state statute governing short-term rentals. So it's going to take it out of the hands of the municipalities. Because, you know, if you go in North Bay Village, you have one thing regarding Airbnb. If you go to Miami Beach
It's
or
a
Sunny
different-
Isle, you know, everywhere is different right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
It's all run by the municipal ordinances. That's what's governing short-term rentals. So there's a lot of talk about change in the law coming next year, but that's not on the books yet. So we still have to deal with the municipalities and how their ordinances are regarding
So we
short-term
could,
rentals.
we could do what Maria is saying, is asking, if we do it, are we allowed to do it without no fines, or, because there were so many
If you put a
violations, so many fines.
Oh yeah,
violations
if
of
you
the
put up a
law.
post for Airbnb right now, I can almost assure you the city is gonna give you a citation if you don't have a license. They're gonna enforce it. We sent a demand letter, not myself, but Phil Bartlett, another attorney for the association, sent a demand letter to the city asking them what they're doing or how they're enforcing the short-term rental. They didn't respond. We went there on a meeting in August.
Yeah.
And we met with the city officials, and it was maybe a 20, 30-minute meeting, and at the end of it, we brought up the short-term rental issue again, and it got very heated, very fast, and it caused the meeting to end. You know, we were asking them how they're enforcing this ordinance. How are you enforcing this law that you're imposing
We
on the
could
people?
do it, I think that 30 days, because in South Beach, in Miami Beach, we have, they have, like I was saying, but here, you have, you're allowed to do it 3 times if you do it
A
a year, right?
according, yeah.
And you are fine within, but it's very confusing. These need to,
Yeah. That's
have to
why
be
we bring
addressed,
it
have
up.
to be clarified, because
We're trying to
citations.
have the whole, in this lawsuit, I don't know if you read it, but there's a count in there, we're trying to have the whole section struck. Not just for us, we're just trying to have it struck. Because it's, the way it's being enforced is, there's no enforcement provision, there's no enforcement section in the ordinance. They did have one once upon a time. It's completely deleted from the municipal code right now. It's not there. It's not on the books. So, I mean, we're going to bring this to the judge's attention and see how he's going to interpret the law on this, and we're going to try to get a declaration in our favor that we should be able to, use short-term rentals, not just for the southeast part of the property, but for the whole property.
I think this is a monumental document, I really do. It goes to every issue
I
that it
appreciate that.
seems that this building has had.
It's been a lot of work coming this year. We tried very, very hard not to go down the litigation route. It's time consuming.
You had
It's
more
not
patience than I would have had.
It's not efficient. Well, when you have a working relationship with the city, and things are progressing, maybe not that fast, but, faster than it would in court a lot of the time. So
Because there's loss of money, you know, there's just, it's.
you try to maintain that relationship and have compromise, and you get places, you know, with people. Beforehand, it was very adversarial. The attorneys weren't even really talking to each other. You know, the city attorney and prior counsel for Bayshore had, you know, next to none amicable conversation or communication. It was all
What would be the
adversarial.
cost for the five-story garage?
Sorry?
The cost to construct the five-story garage?
Okay, we are trying to be, okay, so if you read the lawsuit, what we're trying to do is we try to get the 60. 55 parkings. That was the,
My question.
yeah, but we don't know that yet because we can't get the price. But we can't get a price before we have everything done. The engineers needs to come in and everything has to be done, and that we can't say before.
How much is per square foot?
The first floor is not.
No, the square foot cost to build the five-story.
Yeah. All right. So we're
I mean,
trying
if
in
you
this.
call your architect,
Yeah, okay.
you know, Ben, whatever, Berry Design Studio 305,
Yeah.
310, 4684, he should be able to tell you over the phone what the
He's
cost is,
not.
more or less
No,
on
no,
average.
you can't do that without the engineer report. The engineer is the price for the kind of construction is depending on how much engineering you have to put in. You have to do that first, then you can get a full price.
So Michael, I mean, I think
Waiting for 4
related.
years?
So
Yeah,
between
but-
4 to
But
6
if you read,
million, what do you say?
Frank, if you read the lawsuit, you can see what we're trying to do.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hate,
Yeah.
I know that I've asked a number of questions, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand. So if we're going to the city, say, do the right thing, give us the decals, give us
Yeah.
additional parking,
Yeah.
deem us to be half of the hotel. And so what will the city say? And like, for example, we don't have a generator anymore, and we need the generator to be in compliance with the city code. So, you know, that's why in the list of questions that I sent you was the question about where's the generator? When are we going to get it?
What happened with that? Because that is very expensive. That is over 250,000. I think that we're talking about a lot of money. How that disappeared? How that happened
This
here?
guy,
This
How does it
kind of
disappear? There's
thing
a camera on the.
shouldn't
No,
happen.
we have- we have all
Somebody
the-
should
we have all the
be
evidence,
accountable
everything.
for that.
There's
You
a
mean this
contractor.
Yeah, right there, right there. In the first,
Yeah.
The one that's been there
Fix
the
it and
first.
never return it.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
They
And then
took to fix the
disappeared.
tank,
They took the tank to fix it,
according
and they
to,
never returned the tank.
Yeah.
they never
what is
returned
it
the whole
doing
generator.
about
And they never returned it, it's not
But
like that.
are they
You cannot
gonna
say
send
they
it?
never
Are they gonna return it?
They are. That's what we're trying to proceed with them.
Now that they bring down that, I am concerned because I received, and I don't know if anybody here, but I received a letter from development,
Yeah.
Pura Vida,
yes.
where it says that there is a lien on the property.
Every
because
apartment.
Of every apartment on the properties because their finances were not good, so we owe them money. So we gave them back, they took it, and we owe them, and they have a lien. I don't understand what.
How come
how
it
is
takes so
this?
long?
He suckered us and he
This-
stole
If we
it.
have a
This guy,
leak, we cannot sell our
They-
property. This is very serious.
There's-
If we
This is
pay
something,
for
Oh,
these,
yes.
Yes.
how
we
come
have to
we
take
need
care of this.
It's a big
We know
problem.
That's a
That's
big
a
problem for us. I
And the
mean,
timing,
what is
the
happening?
timing could not have been worse
Nobody knows.
because we're in the midst, we're entrenched in all of this litigation, and now we have a rogue contractor who comes here to tell us he's picking up to repair or refuel,
Yeah.
and then he just absconds with the generator.
But he said,
He-
did we owe him money?
Yeah.
I mean, that's-
Yes,
Yeah,
he's alleging we owe him $500,000.
For what services?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
I mean,
What is the
He's-
answer?
Why are these contractors?
He's priorly retained to do a bunch of different jobs on the property. He partially performed on some of them. He
got paid
mostly
400 some thousand.
did not perform.
700,000.
He
Well,
then,
but Michelle, I mean, a lot of that had to do with the fact that we couldn't get permits. I mean,
Yeah.
they would,
Oh yeah.
they,
Of
they
course.
did the design,
Yeah.
they did the design,
Yeah.
they were scheduling the construction,
Yeah.
and then we didn't get a permit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so,
So end of the day.
I'm just trying to understand,
Yeah.
what is our position with respect to how much work they did and how much we owe them, and how can we get the generator back?
our position is that we've paid them more than enough for what
They have done.
services were performed. The taking of the generator and not returning it, in our eyes,
Who allowed
is
them to take the
unlawful.
generator?
We did, we did.
Why would you allow
Because
them
we
to take the
needed to
generator?
modify the tank to
Yeah.
comply with the city.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the generator was not in compliance. It needs, for Miami Beach purposes, a special tank that can only be ordered. And in order to be able to do that, you need to even call the company to verify the information. You need to bring them back the generator, and they have to measure it and do a special tank
So
and bring
it was
it back.
given and
Yeah.
never returned.
And if they
So
install
that's
it, and we even,
stipulated in paper
but
that
listen,
it's
we even
given
called the
back.
company and asked them, come to come here and
So-
install the tank.
And they
they
said
said no.
no,
Then
it
they
has to
avoid the
be
warranty.
brought there.
Because, I mean, it's simple. You
Yeah.
have a contract, you
Yeah.
have A, B, C.
Yeah.
You didn't complete B, C, and D because of
Right.
permits, so that's fine. You cannot charge us in full, perhaps
Yeah.
a fee.
Exactly.
That also
Or being part of the
a
contract.
criminal, like
But we
activity,
cannot be-
because if he
have a
took
lien
it
on
and
the
didn't
property.
return it for
Have
me,
you looked at any of the
that is
contracts?
somebody's.
All the contracts specify permits not included.
Yeah, it is stolen.
It's a
So-
stolen.
So why did they approach the police?
I would just file charges, the building against these
Why
people.
don't file a charge for the police?
They have done
This is
They have
a-
done everything.
No evidence, why you don't apply, go to the police?
We have a police
Typically,
report. We have a police report. That's all you can do.
Because they're
Mr.
not
Patel,
returning it.
isn't that a crime of
Can we get a
commerce
copy of
by
that
any
police
chance?
report?
No, we don't have, no.
I'm sure
Michelle
we have.
sent, Michelle took care of, has been sending demand letters and everything regarding it.
Actually, he
Then
filed the
after
lien
they
after
don't
I sent
return,
the
you should
man.
have
Yeah.
filed charges for conversion. right?
Would everyone
Mr.
here like a
Patel?
copy of the police report that she said that we have?
Yes,
I would
like to-
anticipate the state attorney would not prosecute that.
I'm
I
just
mean,
concerned
because
because
there's
as
a
an
contract
owner,
that's
if
in
the property
dispute.
has a
Yeah.
lien,
You mean the
it's gonna
unsigned,
become an
undated one?
issue in the future.
Huh?
The
Yeah, I-
unsigned,
I- I-
undated
I-
contract?
So-
Sorry, I
so they-
can't, I'm sorry.
One by
I misunderstood what you said, or you said that we own them enough.
I'm sorry?
You said that they took the generator in because we own them money. For
No,
something that,
they took the generator because we asked them to refuel it or modify it to come into compliance.
Yeah.
They didn't return it. That's a whole separate thing. They didn't return it whether they think they owe us money, we owe them money, or they didn't give us a reason. They sent us a demand, we sent them demands,
Yeah.
and now they filed a lien.
So we send
So
them
to
we send
remove
them
the
a
lien,
demand- a
we have to
demand
file
return-
another lawsuit.
We send them a demand to return the generator,
Correct.
Yes.
and their response was, you owe us $400,000.
$500.
500.
We're
But
putting a
that's
lien
just
on every
something
apartment.
others-
No, I'm asking you, in your opinion, is that lien actionable? I mean, would owners be
If-
prevented from selling their units?
Well, is the lien actionable? To get his money on the lien, he needs to foreclose the lien. To foreclose the lien, he has to do it 1 year from the date he recorded the lien, okay? If he ever files an action to foreclose that lien, I would be very happy to defend that lawsuit because I don't see a judge ruling in his favor on that lien. That's,
Okay, so if it's not foreclosed, then it's not,
it's only valid for 1 year
but it's, okay.
from the date of
All
recording.
right,
So,
so
nobody
next
could
month,
sell his unit here for a year.
next month somebody wants to sell a unit, and when they do a record search, will that owner be prevented from selling that unit because it's a lien?
No one can be prevented from selling,
It becomes an
okay?
But
It
it
becomes an issue
it's
for,
not free and
it
clear.
becomes an issue for title insurance,
Which is for
Okay.
closing purposes.
right? So, in order to get around that, you can obtain a bond, all right, to release the lien, a bond release, a lien release bond, okay? We're exploring some options to hold us over for a year because our other option is to get involved in another lawsuit, okay? So that's the only other way.
But you said a demand, isn't a demand, I mean, that's a legal demand, right?
It's a demand, I mean, he can either, comply with it or he can ignore it. And then if he ignores it, then we go to court.
When he indicated that he was seeking a lien, is that an action is that that an action that they took, that action go to court, that it just go to the clerk's office?
The lien is publicly recorded by the county recording office, okay? So it's there for everyone to see that there's a lien on the property.
Do you have a copy for us?
I don't have one with me, but you can pull it up easily on the website, county
Can
recorder
we send
website.
you a request by mail, by email, and you send us a copy?
Yeah, I mean, you can get it though, online. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's a publicly recorded document.
Look up Irving Cartman, you're gonna have
Available
fun
for
with that.
anyone. But yeah, it's on for a year. It's actionable for a year, but after that, it just drops off.
Yeah, but in a year,
Can you re-up it?
you
It's
know,
a
this
problem.
is a very serious matter.
It's a problem.
And what happened after they
What
come with
happened
another
after,
law?
We
exactly?
need to check
What
it
if they
this.
come
This is
again
not,
and
No, no,
they
we are working
to
on it.
get
So.
a clear title.
They can come with another lien and then what? Wait, another?
No,
No.
They
it's not
come-
something
they
you can
come with
re-up
a
and
lien
How
only?
much
Do
are
it
they claiming
indefinitely.
that we owe them? I'm sorry.
it's over 500,000. I think 512.
515 or whatever.
It's
And
approximately.
do they admit in their response that they are keeping the generator as collateral
No.
for that $500,000?
No. And if you, I mean,
Nope. And then on camera or surveillance, that somebody recording.
Oh, yeah, they
them
have,
taking
no,
it,
no,
and
no,
then
they signed
if
up
they're
the-
on camera.
Listen,
there's no,
they signed a
there's no
paper.
dispute
No.
about him taking it.
Yeah, he signed a paper when he took it.
But he signed the paper?
Then he took it,
What
yeah.
type of paper he signed?
Huh?
What type of paper was
A
it?
paper when he took it. He had to sign the paper when he
Like
took
for
it, yeah.
what? Like he's taking it for
He's
what
taking it
purpose?
for repair. And he's gonna bring it back in a certain amount of time.
So by you saying that he took the paper, then why is he saying that he's not returning the generator and saying,
Because he wanted to
I'm
put
taking this as part of the debt, so you could bring down the 500 and change to whatever the generator.
But no, he came in there and said he wanna have $30,000 more. So he wanna have $30,000 more to bring it back. And he said, no, we're not gonna give you $30,000 more. We agreed to our price. And,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's what he was trying. That's exactly what I said. When he said,
We got a screw.
30,000 was another
The
week.
guy just.
It's another
it
lawsuit.
was like 70,000?
Money.
No, we paid 92.5,
No, they paid
I mean,
92.1,
He's something.
20-something for the electrical hookup.
And then he has the audacity to file a lien
Now he
after
said
that.
he owns another 30,000 because he got a bigger, more powerful generator that was.
Did he ask for that in writing, or did he ask for that verbally?
He asked us verbally after the fact. So we said we agreed
By
on
email.
this
I have
price.
it by, no, we have it in, Frida, I have it by email.
Yeah, I know.
I can't hear you. I'm
Oh, we
sorry.
have it in writing too.
I have no idea what this is about.
To have appropriated our generator?
It did feel like
It's
an
a
export.
theft. Yeah.
It's a theft.
Yeah.
You're saying that is it the AG's office?
We have a report.
Is it?
You have a police report.
Why have it?
I have a copy of
No,
that.
you don't have
What the
no,
police
we don't
is
have
doing.
We have a file, Michelle has
Is
done
it-
the filing.
I have a demand,
It
but
seems
map.
like a shame
I
that
said that
to
the
me.
attorney, is it the attorney
So you haven't
general
officially
has
gone to the
criminal
police?
Jurisdiction over a matter like
the
this?
state attorney would, yeah.
Why, the state attorney, why not the local district attorney?
That's the state attorney,
Okay,
the
okay,
assistant
I'm from
state
New York,
attorney.
okay.
Oh, yeah,
But it
yeah, okay.
also sounds
Okay,
like a
alright,
civil matter too.
So, but,
because
so
of money.
we can not only file a police report, we can go to the attorney general's office.
And I would venture to guess the state attorney would not prosecute
Because
because
it's
there's a
commercial matter, it's
contractual
It's a
dispute.
civil matter.
But at
I
least,
think that-
you know, I mean, at least we go beyond the local police person.
I just want to clarify, if I would like to sell the apartment tomorrow, and I have a lien on the apartment, they're gonna tell me you have a lien, you need to remove the lien. What would I have to do to remove the lien?
Okay, so we are trying to get a bond for it.
A
So
lien
he's
release
working on.
bond.
You're
Yeah.
trying to get a bond, but
Yeah.
let's say that I have to sell my apartment today, or tomorrow within a month.
Your buyer would take it subject to the lien.
So that's a problem.
I don't understand that. I never got any letter saying anything about this. So I don't have any,
You wouldn't have. It's a lien recorded against the building.
the building.
So how it works is that the owner should receive a notice that a lien is going to be filed, and then the lien would be filed thereafter. On certain occasions, the owner does not need to receive notice because they're within privity of contract, so the notice requirement's not there.
a letter to correspondence to everyone for what purpose, just to notify them?
He's trying to stir it up here. I mean,
Or,
he wants
or
to.
intent, yeah, that's like, I think it's extortion.
He wants
I
to.
think
He
it's
wants to
something
intimidate
where
you.
that's what we brought it up.
Yeah, I understand, I understand.
Important for that to be aired.
I understand.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it's only $30,000 change
if we
order.
look at the pattern of behavior from this individual,
Yeah, 30.
taking large deposit sums to start work, doing a certain level of work, stopping, taking the generator, and then demanding more money to return the generator, and then
As a business owner, he also faces litigation for each one of the owners as well. That's what, I mean, the business, the building itself is the contractual party.
right,
But we are not really. I
right,
mean, we're individual unit owners.
right.
So sending out these
So you
letters to me is a
Yeah.
scare tactic.
Which,
Yeah.
by the way,
So
if
scare
you
tactic.
do
It is part of
Which,
the
by the way,
extortion tactic.
Scare tactic, it's a lien.
Well,
which,
it is a
Wow.
lien, but when you get down to
It's a
you and your
recorded
buyer,
lien.
or your.
but the purpose, she's
Yeah.
getting at the purpose of sending it to her directly. What's the purpose of that?
Right.
The purpose is to scare you and to
Exactly,
stir
because
it up.
mine is not,
Right,
if your unit is not up for sale or anything, why are you sending it to me?
Which, by the way, I would encourage all of you, if you receive correspondence from this vendor, particularly to keep it, scan the envelope as well as to when
Yeah,
you
keep
received
everything.
it.
What option are you exploring with respect to the bond? Is that an association bond, or you're suggesting that each part then?
No, it's association.
Association.
So the association will get a bond in order for,
To release
in
it.
order
A
to sell their unit free and clear.
A lien release.
Right,
Lien release,
right.
The bond would do that?
That means
What was the date,
It's like a
that
Band-Aid.
contractor was officially fired from Bayshore?
Sorry?
The Pura Vida International Court, when was the last, what was the date it was officially fired?
I think when he demanded that extra money to return the generator, I think
That
that
was
was,
the
that
official
was,
date.
you know, I think,
Yeah, that was-
I don't have the exact date, but I mean,
I think it was June
What was the date
26th.
More or less.
That was the last time I remember seeing it back there.
I don't recall.
What was the date? Was it May? Was it June? Was
I don't
it
recall.
July?
You know?
They have it in writing, I don't recall now, but I have it in writing, we have it in writing, everything. The hour, by minute.
Can you give us a copy of that?
Okay, so Michelle explained to everybody before.
You can give them, the copies
The minute
of the pickup invoice
Yeah,
that has the
yeah.
signature on when they came to pick it up,
Yeah.
and that's a business record here, yeah,
Yeah.
you're entitled to it.
Yeah, because if I'm there with my attorneys and I'm getting ready to sell my unit, I have a buyer, and this guy is saying he's got, there's no lawsuit pending, he hasn't filed, you haven't filed, I can't, I mean, he's got a lien, yes, but is
He
it,
knows better than to
Going
file.
to
No, he
prohibit.
did file, he did recorded.
no.
No,
he's
he
got
didn't
a
file a
lien.
lawsuit,
No.
he didn't file a
Ah.
lawsuit,
He filed a
that's what
lien.
she's saying.
Lien, not a lawsuit.
He
Although,
he
it's
recorded
not
a
lawsuit, but
lien.
He
He
did
recorded
record
a
it.
lien.
Liens are, you fight them all the time.
Anybody can
To
do it.
get money from that
Exactly.
lien, or to get a judgment from that lien, he needs to file a lawsuit within a year.
Yeah.
And,
I think that we're gonna have to get all the documentation that we have, receipt, everything, and then that demand letter, that you did mentioning all that, and then I know that we have the lawsuit, but this is very serious, I mean.
Yeah.
Moving forward, this is
Yeah.
gonna, just getting that bond, it's just getting, I think that this is, we shouldn't be sitting on this. We didn't know, I mean, I didn't know about this Pura Vida until I got the letter. And we said, but how come this happened? I mean,
But here's the thing, and I understand what you're saying. Here's the thing, until I have a buyer that walks away, and this is just my opinion, and that says, oh, I'm not gonna buy your unit, or there's some kind of damage, this is just my personal opinion here. There's some kind of effect on me selling it, then what kind of, this is just a letter, somebody trying to intimidate an association. If anybody's a lien.
we're trying, but that's
Whatever
Be
it
able
is,
to add you
okay,
to the
but
list
the
of
law is the
people
law.
affected by
And when the
that.
guy come and buy it,
Has somebody said that you can?
You don't have the lien removed unless like it's like.
Has someone
We have
told
that,
you
but yes,
that you cannot?
it's not free and clear.
Yeah, we have picture.
The guy
everything.
can
We have picture.
But has everyone been rejected?
No, listen, all the work is done. No question about it. All the work is done. And we haven't paid them. And we haven't paid him. We haven't paid him for
I
those.
can't deviate with this guy. I mean, look at what he's done.
He's not the person. I look, it is there, it is there, it is there, it is there.
The lien is there.
It is there.
The lien has been recorded.
So this is something that we don't have a good time. Whoever want to sell it.
So what's
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
what's the time frame? I mean, besides hearing lawsuit and everything that's going on here, can you tell a little bit, even though probably it's not up to you, it's up to judge and accelerate, but let's assume they start building this project right there by the beginning of 2019, okay? Or in the first quarter.
Yeah.
This need to be parallel, probably it's gonna take, let's say 18 months, 24 probably to complete kind of the project if everything going through, because the city probably moved and etc. Now, parallel to this, you need to make sure that they're building the parking right there in the back.
Yeah.
So how does it work in terms of time? Because the best way, I think, to look at things and not just to hear lawsuit and whatever, is to understand more or less how does it's going to be kind of in a, you know, like time frame with more or less big macro picture, how people is going to feel more comfortable not to have the concerns to come here and need to start to look for a parking by Presidente. So you guys, it's not funny. I know you need to do a job, but at the end of the day, what's going on in the time? Because talking, it's good, but we need to understand what's going on. Things in this building are very slow. It's like a turtle, and I don't blame anybody, but I just say in general. So can you give us kind of more or less in a kind of a brief time frame how it will, assuming this project start in first quarter 2019, and how this building move forward? And I say that because really concerned about what happened the work here, like how long it takes to build, you know, something so
They don't have a permit.
simple. No, I'm talking about the waterfall or whatever, fountain. I'm in the real estate business. I never saw something small project that take forever or whatever. So this is not required. So I really concerned about the time frame of things that going, and I don't know what type of contractor, the management hiring, but it seems like very poor. So just,
Yeah, I mean, understand that at least the pavers, I mean, simple project that really a permit should have been issued right away. The job could have been done in, I mean, a couple of months. It's not a big project.
Couple of weeks.
2 weeks
And,
to put the
and
pavers on.
it's
the
been,
payment, but the parking, that's
yeah, the parking too, I mean,
But this
we have,
is all about how many people you put on the work, okay? So the water fountain, we didn't feel like it was a very big rush with it because we're going to have the permit for the paver. But if you put 10 people working, it's going to be a lot quicker than you put one guy, you know?
I don't
So
know
now
the
you know.
numbers and how about based on
All
what
right,
you pay,
okay.
but in
So-
general, let's say.
If you have 10 people working, 10 people are normally quicker than one person.
With triple the
It
price.
doesn't matter because based on
No,
my
it does matter
understanding-
because the cost is an issue. I can have the water fountain in half the time if you pay double. So it is more expensive if they put 5 or 10 workers rather than putting one worker.
Yeah.
Now, since we
Today.
didn't see the rush for the water fountain,
Yeah.
we didn't think it was necessary to spend more funds. And then people say, why did you spend so much on a water fountain that we didn't even need? Now, if you all agree to have this water fountain, and it's important to you, and I'll agree with you, we can have it done in less than a week, triple the price.
So why
if
not
you
to
all
write-
agree.
Why not to explain it to all the residents? Because
We
people
can't
don't see what
explain
you see in
every,
the back.
every
So-
single
okay.
thing. Let me tell you, because there's so many issues going on right now. You have Coleta giving us 30 days to turn that into a tennis court because he wants his tennis court and he has a court order for it.
Okay?
And according to the court order, we have 30 days to give him back his tennis court and give him back his parking spots underground and whatever else has been affected. 30 days from the day he won the case,
What day is that?
which was more than a month ago. Exactly. So,
August, yeah,
like we're saying, we're dealing with a lot of things that are at stake here, which is more important than the water fountain.
Of course.
And I understand,
But
even
all
though
these things need to be communicated to us. We are in the dark here, guys. The reality is, half of these issues, we don't know. We find out because I talked to her, she's my neighbor, I talked to Frank, or, this is not the way. They have to be transparency. One of the things of this government is transparency.
But
If
one
you-
thing
if
with
you follow the laws,
transparency,
they will-
until you actually
Nelson.
file the lawsuit, Nelson, you cannot say anything to anybody. The moment you say one thing, then you have to exclude it from the lawsuit.
You understand,
No,
right?
The moment you
just
reveal,
understand
like,
that, but
one
in the end-
information.
In the end, we don't know. I mean, I just came here and Stephen, the one day, Rafa told me, no, we this permit the LED. I said, great. So things are moving. When it's going to be opening? I think everybody is fed up because of the entrance. It's been, I don't know, 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah, it's not 2 years, but it's one
But
and a
it
half
is
years.
2 years that we're fighting with
We
them.
know that
Right,
they're
yeah.
locals. We
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
But if,
But Nancy, you have to
I always
understand this.
trying to get what is the latest. I always get it from the rural mill, not
Yeah.
coming like an official like here.
You need
Okay, but here's the- okay.
Patel.
Yeah,
This is,
but here's the thing. You want to have everything for the lawsuit. You have to understand. Every time we speak here, in a few days, everything is in the city. It's a big issue. So how are we gonna defend the building the best way?
Yeah.
If our
Once-
people, they're not shutting up, they
The
will
next
speak.
day, they go to
Yeah.
the city with the new information and with the email printed to the city.
Yeah.
The next day that we inform our own residents.
Can I
So
say
they
something, because I
alter
think
your
what you're
strategy.
hearing is a discussion that we've had, like, often, Michael, and I
Yeah.
had that discussion with you and sent
Yeah.
you an email. There are no monthly meetings, and there's a resistance to sharing information.
This,
I mean, you can share the information that Coletta denied, that the summary judgment that we were seeking was denied, and that Coletta is, I mean, you can share that information.
Okay,
And
but
I
we
think
managed
that-
to get a
that
rehearing.
The issue is
Yeah.
we have somebody that goes over and speaks to people in the city, and that hurts us sometimes. But we need to
Gosh,
develop a
sometimes.
relationship with the city, and we have a new mayor coming in.
yeah, we know
So
that.
the point is that I think, and I shared this with Mike before, okay? You have a lot of people in this building,
Yeah.
and they have power that you can leverage, and contacts that you can leverage.
Yeah.
And you are resisting sharing information because one or two persons may get that information and take it over to the city. But there may be other people here who have the power and the leverage to call the city and say, this, I mean, when I spoke to
Leilani?
The new mayor.
Brent Latham,
I mean, I
yeah.
spoke to his wife for 20 minutes.
No, I spoke to him, listen.
So if we have a relationship, then you don't have to be afraid of somebody going over,
Yeah.
because they will have a contrast, somebody coming over and in good faith sharing information, okay? So I don't think, I mean, and I shared this with you in the email, I shared this with you, Mike, I think, we have a 3-member board, and I don't think we have enough board members, we don't have any communication, and so and the frustration is not so much what you've done, is the frustration is, we don't know about it.
What's going on?
Correct.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think that everybody, maybe it is a kind of brainwashing idea,
Frank,
but
Frank, let me tell you something, Frank. I didn't know about this hearing either. I got a hold of this hearing, and Michelle didn't know about it either. Nobody knew about this hearing. The insurance company decided to put a new counsel and go to court without speaking to anybody.
You mean the
Yeah.
hearing for the...
But we managed, but
27?
listen, we managed to schedule a rehearing,
Which one
which
of
is
the
coming up.
27, the board meeting? That is Mr. Patel, that you sent me that letter. December 27, nobody's in Miami. What the heck? No building.
But it's the law.
We haven't, I mean, no,
Yeah.
you don't,
Yeah.
you know that nobody will be here. Attendance will be 0. We are we want to know what's going on here.
Yeah.
So when I got the letter December 27, I said,
Is that
who's
for the
gonna be
voting?
my
Yeah, but it's
audit?
for the law.
Why
It's the
didn't
law.
do it on the 24th?
But it's the law. I can't. It's the
No,
law.
then nobody will be, I mean, only the
Yeah.
Jewish.
But it's a.
Okay, I was here probably, but you're putting like based on.
But it's not based on me. It's based on the law. It's not okay. It's not based on me. It's based on the laws.
Why is it the
This
law?
is why nobody
Last
trusts you
year
guys.
in November.
Yeah. So the law is not.
That's a joke.
Okay, so we can't talk about it, right?
Michael, respectfully, I'm asking you.
Yeah.
I'm asking you. You said
Nobody's in
it's
Miami
the
yet
law.
on
I
December
want to
27th.
understand, is it the law that we have to have an annual meeting in 2018, and therefore we could have it sooner and not on the 27th? I mean, why is it the law, Michael? I don't understand.
Well, it's a 13 months law regarding.
But not on a date on the holiday.
Where is
No, we can't. We have to put a date in December somewhere. But that was the only date that's not
2 weeks before,
holiday.
3 weeks before.
So
Because
I
last
didn't.
year
He didn't
we
do
did
it.
November 30th, and that was outside of the scope of our condo docs, that says it has to be done on the second or third Tuesday of the month of March. And every year, since we had American Management Group, has never done in the month of March, and they push it 1 year in July, another year in November, another year in December. You do it whenever you want, Michael.
that's the law. That's the
No,
law.
it's not the
No,
law.
I
Where is
understand
written?
that
No,
by
it's
law, but Michael, I
But you
understand
can ask.
that by law.
The same thing with the budget. Every time they have a budget, they hide the notice of the budget
Okay, I'm-
inside one of those frames, so nobody can see.
Maria, before you get to those tangents, Michael, I mean, I hope that you're hearing that people would like to have the meeting changed.
Yeah. And but that's what I said, Frank. Now I told you before. When we have this lawsuit filed, then we can speak about it. But I just want to make sure we have the lawsuit
But why
filed and
can't we
everything.
have the meeting in January? I mean,
That
not
one-
December 27th.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but we can't.
Why?
But maybe we can host the company and see. They can
Maybe
change it.
before, we can push the election. This is
the
not,
second week in December.
are you referring to the elections or what meeting?
Huh?
Are you referring to
Yeah,
the
the
elections?
annual meeting. I mean, because since there's no communication, it's the only opportunity that we have to interact, and I think this is a good thing, I commend you for having this, right? But there's no communication, and so the annual meeting is the only meeting at which we have been able to get information. And I think,
Okay.
and as I shared with you and I shared with Yvonne, I really think that the size of the board should be enlarged. I know that it's been three.
What annual meetings?
The
Talking
size-
about
I'm talking about,
elections?
okay, but I explained to you, Frank, we have the lawsuit,
But
and
is
I
that
need to
the
have it.
meeting or is it the elections?
There's a meeting on election.
Yeah, you said there's a meeting on the 27th.
Yeah. That wasn't a date from the
It's the
company
annual
doing it.
meeting. It's
There
the
was
annual meeting.
but there was a date picked from the company doing, we have a company doing
The elections.
Yeah,
That's
but
not
you
the
don't tell to
meeting.
the company the specific
I mean, you
day.
can tell, no, that
Let's
doesn't
be
make any sense.
transparent. You need to be, the residents here need to feel comfortable with the board. And if they don't feel comfortable with the board, is an issue. So, everybody, the interest of the board, I mean, I don't see why you need to get scared or something, but the interest of the board, that the majority of the residents here will be present on the day of the election.
And we all look
Okay,
forward to that
so
annual meeting.
there is nothing to, this is the law, there is not the law.
But
The law
December-
doesn't say on the 27th
27th,
to
it's
arrange
not a
the
holiday.
election. The law
No.
say do
Am
it
I
in
missing
December.
something? It's
So
not a
let's-
holiday, is
27
it?
is not a holiday.
But majority of the people, it's like
Yes,
if I am a Jewish and there is Yom Kippur, a day that you fast and you cannot drive or whatever, I do a meeting. So no, you need to respect that this day.
But
many
this is
people
not a
going out
holiday.
of town,
It's not a holiday.
many people celebrating, doing shopping, busy around the holiday. So do it in a fair, maybe 2 weeks before the month end. It's okay. Maybe in the mid-December.
Last week of
No,
the
just,
year,
make it
people
Sunday.
go away.
Everybody goes
Probably.
away for that year.
I mean, nobody, I mean, I don't know.
Oh, no. So maybe we can do something.
There's
I don't know if we have the power to
the
change
election.
election
The
day.
election's separate. Let's keep that separate. But
I would like to know who.
But it's around the corner.
chooses the
I know.
date
So
of
we
the
need to
election.
take advantage
Can
But what
you
I'm-
tell me who does that?
what
Who
I'm
chooses the
suggesting
date?
is that
Sir, I'm asking who chooses the date of the election?
There was a date
Who
from
does?
the company doing it. We have a company
Which
doing
company?
elections.
Who
No, the
does?
company is
Which company
contractor,
does?
you hired them.
Okay.
No, we had to take
Don't
some.
say
Okay,
lies.
all right. We had to pick something in December, and there was a date. Otherwise, it would have been directly in the holidays, and we had to take one normal date, and that was the best normal day we could find.
Michael, I'm telling you, it's
Yeah.
not the best normal day, not for me, not for
Yeah.
many people that celebrate the
All right.
holiday.
So maybe
and
we can.
will explain
I
to
can
you.
ask them. Okay, let me ask them. The people. Maybe we can ask them.
And what,
Yeah.
what you
Michael,
guys
they
can
work
do,
for you,
here's-
Michael.
Yeah, they work for you.
Who's
There is
that?
one person need to be here and 3 people need to fold the envelope and to open them. So you pay them, not they pay you. So I know that when I have employee, I
Alright.
make the decision.
So
when
would it
he
be
need to
better,
come. If not, take another
Well,
company.
December 22 would have been better.
I don't know.
No.
Whatever
December
the
30?
majority
I
here
believe
agree.
that
Or you can make it the second week in January. I mean, it's
It has
just
to
We
be
enough
can't push
time.
it past December.
No.
They said December is the
Okay.
last
All right,
month.
so they
We
can
cannot-
make December
But wait a minute,
22nd.
wait a minute.
But that
Who
would have been-
says
that would have been
December
even
is the
worse.
last month?
The
That would
law.
have been worse.
December
The
17th.
law, you
December
haven't been
17th.
respecting the law for the last 5 years.
Oh,
You
that-
never
yeah,
did it
we're
in
on an
March.
issue. So I think you could do
Yeah.
it on
That's the
December.
law.
You could do it 1 week before the holidays because people travel. You know, you could
We
do
should
it,
do
you
2
know, the
weeks from
second week.
now,
December
so
17th.
we
So
can
There's
send the
two
notice.
different things here.
No,
There's a
it's
meeting
not.
component and then there's the election
No,
component.
it's not, it's
Unless
the
we
same
postpone
thing.
it.
It's a meeting of the elections
No,
on
you
December
shall-
I'm
27th.
offering you a suggestion.
Yeah.
If you want to listen to it and take it, you can. If not, you don't have to. All right? I'm giving you an option on what you can do. The election has a notice requirement, right? 60 days. So you can't really, and you have proxies out there too. People can vote by proxy, okay? But on a meeting,
But we can
you
have
can do an additional meeting.
We can have you
You,
know
you
it.
can do an additional
Like we-
meeting.
like everybody else here
There was
was.
no 60-day notice on the elections.
Yes, it was.
That went out.
You didn't
Yeah, they have the
post it.
company.
That's-
What's what they were saying? What they were
Yeah,
saying?
it's not supposed to tell everybody, send to everybody. It's done by company. You don't do it.
But they can send the votes earlier,
The
right?
people
They
living
can vote
in the building
earlier.
that are corporation, LLC.
Okay.
Because if
But
those
anybody can vote earlier.
You don't
They
need to
will-
do it.
Excuse me, if we are, if.
But you
if
can do
you
your
are
voting
basically-
earlier.
I live in a building in South Beach,
Yeah.
565 units.
Yeah.
This happens all the time. You have a line, we have a Yahoo group for the community, communication is crucial, especially 565 units. So we are talking here, how many? 120.
160.
They will never do on December because the building will go, nobody's there, you know, it just, you have to, what's the, here, maybe 25% of the people versus a corporation, all the people that live overseas will have LLC, maybe those people, they don't know, because how you reach out to those people, that they know all of this, that we are
This is
listening
the
here.
meeting, they want no people in the meeting.
They have it sent an email. But it's gonna be an email.
Yeah, they wanna
Oh,
know.
We don't
Because
have
if you
answers.
have
We-
a lot of
we
people
have-
Listen, but this document is sent to everybody.
After meeting, we have no answer for
everybody.
anything.
Everybody has these documents.
Okay,
About the day
we
you
have
count the
meeting
votes,
after
They
meeting,
cannot be there.
and the same
But they-
question mark
they don't need to
are
vote, but they
open,
want-
and no
But
answer
they're
for
still in votes.
anything. It's the
What is the
same
question
thing
mark?
forever and ever. Sitting there to listen to us, to say what you want to say. Now is the lawyer here. I don't know, I unfortunately get a little late here today, but I
Oh,
don't
you
know
can.
the meaning. I read this by the email.
Yeah.
I don't know really, because we have another suit pending with no result. And now we have another one, having a new people in the city, in the state to put another suit. We have to go there.
That's gonna go really well.
And
This is the
and
same lawsuit.
opening us
Oh.
to them and then explain what has been happening. But not with another suit. But what happened with the previous suit that we are still not resolved because they deny. We deny that suit and then we put another one. You get paid for this, right? It's true. You get paid for this. And a lot of money.
It's not
This is the reason for the suit.
And
You
the
get paid money.
lies, and
Okay.
the lies that we operate
Wait,
as
wait,
a hotel, that's
wait,
the lies
wait,
that
and
Patel put in that casino.
I don't know, but who told you to make this suit?
We
Okay?
did, the
You.
board, yes.
Okay.
Because
Without-
otherwise we
without-
can never
you
get a
never-
permit.
Huh?
Yeah.
Because otherwise we can never get a permit. And we want to have a permit to finish the front.
Because, wait.
Permits, yes.
Wait, Maria, please.
Okay.
We never get a permit because we never do a thing in the right way. Never. And then, wait. I am tired to listen to the same thing forever.
We
And
also
have
have a
no
little bit of
result. First of all,
documentation. We've seen a little bit.
okay, how much you made the contract for the stupid phone? How much you contract? You write it down with somebody. I want to pay for this. How much? You have the amount?
What does, this is not the annual budget meeting. We
No.
have that.
No. Don't tell me that silly, stupid question. Answer. How much you said that you're going to pay for this stupid phone?
What does
Do
it
you
have
know
to do
the
with this
amount?
meeting?
How much you are going to pay? How much they already have paid in the pocket for doing that? How much they pay for put the red thing here without do anything in the rest of the building? And then when you pay, don't you see somebody will get that? They're going to ruin this job. How much you pay for that?
I think we can.
And then, what happened with the generator? I don't understand.
Well, we
You
spoke
said-
about all this.
No, but I don't understand.
What
Okay,
can we do?
Okay.
Can we do that?
We cannot help you understand. We explained
No.
everything. That's the best we can do.
Wait.
Yeah.
You say that they took the generator because we own them money because other jobs that they do here.
I'm sorry, Tanya. You're saying, why is there a lawsuit? Did I hear you correctly or not?
And what?
Why was there another lawsuit? Did I hear you correctly or not? That was your question. Why is there a lawsuit? The one you have in your hand. That's a lawsuit.
Don't go back. Let me, don't, okay.
But we-
That was not a question.
Tell me about-
It was a rhetorical question. Then
First
go
of all,
ahead.
Tell me about the generator. You said that they took it because we own them money.
No, that's not what we
For job
said.
that they did.
That is not what we said.
No? And then
No, we said
because
they
he
took
said
it.
we own them enough money.
They took it.
$500,000.
They took it to change the tank to conform to the city requirements for a generator in Miami Beach. It needs a special requirement tank. That's why they took it.
Okay, then why they return it?
Because they asked for an additional $30,000 to just return it.
Okay.
After we
Okay,
paid
let me go
for the tank.
the first question is, we pay for
That
that?
would be cheap.
We pay for the generator?
Yes, we did.
How much?
293,000.
How much we pay for?
92,000, if
How
I
much?
remember correctly.
2 times
92,000.
92,000.
92.5 and 92.1.
Okay. What condition had that generator that we had to pay that amount? It was bad, it was good, it was...
It was new.
It was
Brand
new.
new.
And
Brand
then
new.
what is the thing that we need to pay? What they pick it up? If they was new,
Like I said, the city has a requirement specifically for Miami Beach.
And then-
Needs a bigger tank
Okay.
than the regular
okay,
generator.
and then you made a contract to them, how much you are going to charge us?
Yes.
How much it was?
It was the 91, 92,000. It was not the additional 30,000 that he was
No. So
asking.
you put a change order for
Okay,
$30,000.
and then-
We don't agree
if
to
So
it.
that-
then
if-
he
if-
wanted
if
to
that
change the
wasn't
contract.
writing, if
It
that
is in
wasn't
writing.
writing, why you don't
It
force
is-
them to return it by the police, by the whatever?
We did.
Okay.
Where is the police report?
And then where is the
Show me
police?
the police report.
Then whatever
Police
comes here,
report,
will
they
be
have
whatever
said
they
When I
no.
want.
went to the city, they said there is no police report, so
Uh,
are you lying?
Okay, but Mariana.
we
okay.
said it's not. We sent the man letter. We said that.
Okay.
I don't know
The
what
other
you're
thing is,
talking about.
How much? She asked you that question. I asked him since a week ago because we received a letter that we have to go to the city to fight to have approved the 5-story parking. And I wondered, and you know me, I always go to that meeting and fight in favor of us. So do everything. But before I fight for something that I don't know how much I'm going to pay for, how I'm going to fight for that?
Listen,
You
Tanya.
have to tell me before.
Read this
You
law.
have to
But
fight
Tanya,
here before
Okay.
to tell us
Yeah.
how much
So
we have to
the
pay
reason,
for that.
Tanya, the reason why,
Who is going
Thank
to
you.
pay for that? Where is the money that
Tanya.
you collect?
Tanya,
No,
read this law.
you don't have
Read
the
the
answer.
lawsuit. Read the lawsuit. Read the lawsuit, it's on there.
You
It's
pay
already done very
12%
simple.
interest on a debt. You pay 12%, 10% interest on a debt that you take. How the money kind of loan that the building takes.
That's
So that's what
a
balloon.
That's a balloon mortgage.
The balloon, kind of
If
balloon
we don't
mortgage that
pay
you
that,
pay 10%. It's like
2020?
it's like underground business when they pay for protection kind of. It's the same kind of level. Probably there are some problems.
But
that's
Mr.
going
Patel,
on. But
going
that's the
back to
money where
this
it's come
annual
from.
meeting,
From a
this
debt.
show also, and there is something that in a board never before, that's why you need to have these people here. Because you don't have a diverse. Most of the people here, they're Spanish speaking. And you listen, the language, a barrier, having a board, English speaking, not a Latino, in a community like this, I never seen that before. That's why what Frank mentioned, or change that, increase it to 5, because having this board that they don't speak when she's talking, sometimes you lost in translation.
That's what we
If you
said,
have
that's what we
somebody
did in
sitting there
Spanish translation of it
and
too.
could be helping, or
Yeah.
but not having the manager, everything in a city like this. Nothing against Stephen because he's a good guy, he's a great
No,
guy.
last time he brought the police, when they had a town meeting, he brought the police.
You need to
So people
have
could not ask any questions.
Diversity.
Oh.
That's why he didn't want to show up.
What you say?
Eric Levy, the COO of the management company, last time we had a town hall meeting like now, he brought the police, so nobody could ask
I want to go through
That's not
10 years
true.
of history. I want to
The meeting is for everybody to speak, it's not for one person.
To answer one thing to Nelson, in regards to having a Spanish translator, is perhaps we can avoid that step if it's clear to us prior in email, like she's asking, she wants to know what happened deep. Like summary.
Legitimate
If she doesn't have
things, yeah.
access, when she goes and asks, she doesn't have the information.
This
so
board
she gets
do that.
very
Yes,
frustrated.
Shelley, with all due respect, I don't agree with you. I'm turning back to you, because you said that December 27th was the day, the 60-day, and the process went out. I have discussed with you, I've discussed with ASG, I've discussed with Michael. The bylaws that restrict this board to 3 members are like 50 years old. And the questions that I've asked Michael and ASG is, what can we do to amend those bylaws so that you can enlarge
75% vote.
the board members?
But I don't
and
think
will
so. In the
there
code
be
laws,
a-
it requires
and will
100%.
there be enough time? Can we do that at the meeting? Do we have to?
Okay,
is there
okay,
an
Frank,
opportunity
let me
to send
explain to you.
those?
In the condo dogs requires 100% vote. In the condo dogs. Florida statute requires 75%. But anybody want to challenge that can say in the condo dogs it's 100%.
What are you talking about,
No,
Mike?
we're
talking about
no.
changing.
I mean, you can amend bylaws. My understanding is you can amend bylaws, I don't know, maybe 75%.
75, yeah.
Or
Okay,
maybe
but-
less.
no, no, no,
Maybe-
no, no.
I think, the last time I read the
75
bylaws,
is
I
statute.
think it was
Yeah,
majority of members
75.
present,
No.
okay? But my question, Mike, whatever it is, and I'm asking for a legal question, and you may not agree with you, and I understand the trouble that you guys go through on a daily basis, but I
Frank,
really
look at
think
this,
that
look at this.
part of the solution is to enlarge that board. You have 3 members for over 50 years with a,
We can find out.
Anyway, so my question is, what notice needs to be filed in order to move to amend the
It has to
bylaws
be
at the
a
annual
vote.
meeting?
It has to
I'm
be a vote.
asking you, do you know the answer to
You
that?
need, you need to post it on an agenda and put it up for a vote. After you secure the appropriate vote, then you can amend the condo docs.
So is it at the annual meeting, or can you do it at any time other than at the annual meeting?
I mean, you can put something up for a vote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the problem is,
maybe instead of having, if I may, instead of having more members, what about creating committees?
I think,
No,
look,
no.
I mean, I'm talking about, I think creating committees is a really good idea, and talk to Michael, and that's how Shelley and I began the discussion, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, I don't, I
Okay,
have friends
if you
who
read-
have
okay.
boards, and those boards have 5 to
Frank.
7 members,
Yeah, well,
and
Frank,
those
Frank.
other members bring transparency,
I agree.
and the ability to communicate what's going on, which is
Yeah.
one of the problems. problem. So
Yeah.
I'm suggesting that the bylaws need to be
Okay.
amended to
So
enlarge.
it
They
is.
need to be amended for a lot of
Bylaws
reasons.
allow
but listen,
3, 5,
Frank,
and
listen,
7,
Frank.
because I sat on the board and we were 5 board members.
The
So
bylaws-
Listen,
something could be
bylaws
done
say
to go
three.
back
Yeah,
to
but it's
that.
just also
Bylaws say
correct.
three.
Very
The
simple.
bylaws say 3, they're
Yeah.
restricted
No,
to
there
3.
is another paragraph that
No.
says 3, 5, or 7.
No.
I
Yes,
think
there is.
the bylaws, the last time I looked at them, I
Yeah.
discussed with Evan from ISD, and I shared
It's
them
there,
with you,
so.
I think they say 3. And so again,
Okay.
if there's an
all right.
interest
Okay.
in
We have to
filing-
amend it, but
seeking an amendment of the bylaws to enlarge
Yeah.
the
so
size of the
any
board
type of
from 5 or
any type
7.
of change we're gonna make, we have one guy, and he's gonna file a lawsuit and whatever we're gonna try to do. Doesn't matter what we're gonna try to change. This guy gonna try to put a stop on it. He's gonna bring us to court.
Michael, what does that have to do with anything?
All right.
I mean,
So now go back to reading. Now go back to reading the Congo docs. In the Congo docs, okay. Listen now. Listen now.
Request
It's in requirement
100%
100%.
commercial.
Yeah.
Commercial owners need 100% of any change in the bylaws.
That was vetted by the legislature many
Okay.
years ago.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
And that is
So then they
still
changed to
okay.
7. Yes,
So
we know this.
false
Okay,
propaganda,
all right.
Florida.
Okay, but no. So, okay, so we're back there. So what the recommendation said, if we have 75%, we can probably make a change, okay? But he can still challenge it.
By requiring the
Yeah.
100%
That
commercial.
amount over a vote because people are overseas.
Yeah, but- yeah.
So to reach out to those people, we need to get those emails or whatever it is going to be to disclose. How do you reach out to those people that they are in Argentina or they are not here? They are doing probably Airbnb or they don't. Somebody is taking care, you know. So this happened in this. In my building, I have people that they have 3 units, and they don't care as long as they receive. So those people are the ones that we need to reach out. Listen, there's a lien, there's your investment, this. There's a balloon mortgage that is going to be default. I mean, due date in 2020. All of those people that they are those people that we need them to know what's going on because we're going to get 20, we're never going to go anywhere here in this building.
You have to get past this first.
Yeah.
Oh
You
yeah,
guys are, you guys are there like moving and we have a
You can't go
lawsuit.
nowhere unless these
I don't-
things are
you know what I mean?
resolved.
Respectfully, I
You're
disagree.
going absolutely nowhere. You guys are talking.
hear you, but
But you, yeah.
this is like
Yeah.
the.
That is a good.
Yeah, this is the biggest deal. Okay, this is the actual survival of the building. You're fully aware of that, right?
Okay, but that's, it doesn't.
Without this, we don't have a building. So we can start there.
Yeah, I mean, one step at a time. I said one step, meaning not
But
slowly.
related to keep
It's an court
updated.
of
Okay,
law.
of course you need to work on it, but meantime you need to
We
keep
have number
updated.
20.
No, communication for sure.
Okay, communication, that's great topic. About
Definitely.
communication.
So,
This is
so,
step
so I go back, I go back to my question. So if there's an interest,
Okay, but you're.
if there's an interest in moving to amend the bylaws to increase the size of the board, you're suggesting that we need to contact ASG and ask them to do that? And then
Yeah, we
can
probably
look
need a
at-
75%
There's
vote.
nobody here. How
probably-
many people want
probably.
5 members on the board? Raise
No,
your
no,
hand.
that's bullshit. I mean, it's 170 apartments, okay?
No, but
You
not
know, the
here.
question is,
Okay.
the question
The law is
do
very
we
simple,
have
Maria.
any
You know the law, so why
motion
we,
to amend the bylaws?
Forget me.
What steps do we need to take in order to?
We need, for this, we need at least 75%, but anybody has the right to challenge it.
No, it's 75%, but 100% commercial
Yeah,
units.
that's in there also. So if we come in with 75,
So whoever has a commercial unit
You
needs
should
to
know
vote.
that, Florida.
I don't, there's, my apartment, I don't know whether, like, so you telling me some of the apartments are not commercial units?
For example, the stores,
Yeah, so that,
those are commercial.
yeah.
We have to have 100% of the
We
store
have to
owners.
have
Yeah,
100% of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
the commercial side.
The elections, the commercial store votes are not counted. So there's a flaw in what you are saying, Florida. And you are a lawyer, you should have researched that and tell us the
We
truth.
have it.
So the biggest owners here don't have the right to vote. Whoever owns all the stores
They're
and,
not counted.
what do you mean they're not counted? They're counted every year. Every single year. Why would their vote count less than yours?
Because they're commercial.
So what does that mean?
So the house, the building is commercial, so they're not.
40% of the building.
40% is commercial.
40% of the
Right,
All
okay.
the units are
Nah,
residential.
Maria, this is bullshit. I don't have time
40%
for
is
this.
commercial, and they vote just like you, and their vote matters just like yours.
Okay,
There is
so
only, there is
okay,
only
no matter what
7
the
commercial units.
no matter what
okay?
the, no
Okay,
matter
so
what
half the building is
ask votes
commercial.
and what the voting percentage is, we can move and actually put it on the agenda to
Yeah.
change the bylaws to increase the size of the board.
Yes.
Is that
We need to
correct?
change the bylaws, when all these lawsuits and everything is done, we need to change the law, everything together. But we need to amend a lot of stuff in this condo law. A lot of stuff needs to be amended here.
If you guys are moving in the direction of amending your condo docs,
Yeah.
it would probably be, advisable to amend a few things while you're doing it,
Right.
because it's such a arduous task
Right.
to make that a reality. So if you are going to take those steps, then, the docs are so old right now.
Yeah, no,
That,
they
that,
are,
it, that
yeah, the 50
it
years
would
are-
be a smart move to get it done
Yeah.
at the same
Now, does that
time.
have to be done at the annual meeting?
I think you can put it on an agenda.
There's a couple of agenda, yeah.
It doesn't have to be at your annual, but that's going to be a decision
Because
for the
the other issue is, you say that there were proxy votes, but there's no mechanism to share information.
There should be. And,
I asked Stephen and I asked you for the email addresses
Okay.
of.
So we have a lot of people, a lot of
I
owners
can't-
here. We have owners. We don't have anybody who want to get out their emails. We have a lot of people who doesn't want to give out the emails. So I have a lot of people been telling us, don't give out my private information,
Okay,
please,
so when you get proxy
because I've
votes,
been harassed
when you get
from
proxy
previous.
votes- When you get proxy votes, those proxy votes come in return for snail mail that you send to them, or you email, they tell
You
you.
use a
you
third-party
use
vendor, right?
Yes.
Yes, I thought
Yeah,
that, yeah.
And
they
they
use a
mail them.
vendor.
Huh?
They use a vendor
Yeah.
for their election paper handling.
Yeah, but okay, but so what you're saying is that the shareholders don't have access to that, don't have access to communicating, don't have access to communicating, because again, Michael, you guys are doing, you're working really, really hard, and it's really frustrating, and you may not agree, but I think that the shareholders should have an opportunity, the shareholders should have an opportunity to inform and canvass the owners about how they feel about expanding the bylaw.
I completely understand that because I live in an association as well, and I think the most effective way to communicate with other owners is email. Unfortunately, the way the statute's drafted is that an owner has to come in, give the association authorization to disclose their email to other members.
But
So,
so is it impossible for a shareholder to approach Stephen and say, I would like to share this information with all of the owners before the annual meeting?
Because
for
the,
publication,
the Brony Palace, they have a Yahoo group. That email, of course, you need to have Carlos, the company manager, in this case will be Stephen. That email, everybody there, you put everything. You take a picture, you put it in that Yahoo group, or the Brony Palace. Here it should be something like this, and all the Spanish speaking, in that Yahoo group, everybody, you have a conversation. Sometimes there are people from New York that have big apartments. They are, they don't know, but they read things, what's happening with the dogs at the pool. We have issues here in this building, people jumping. So all of that, maybe Tanya see from her balcony something that is happening, and she put it in that email. And I'm in the 5th floor, and I said, yes, I saw a Sunday night, somebody jumped. So all of this is very good.
Steven, are you hearing that? Because
all of the building, they're doing that.
there's ways you can maybe sign up for like a listserv on an email listserv. You guys can all. You're part of the same community, so whatever.
But
You could.
it's incumbent on ASG or the board to develop the listserv and provide access to it.
Okay. They have, like I said, I told you, I have probably around 30 owners that have told me, I don't want to hear more bullshit, we're
Only
very
30,
tired.
so you have 120 to share.
Yeah, but I don't
So
have
that
people
122
saying,
can give their written authorization to
Yeah.
dispose of
Yeah.
email
Yeah.
addresses,
Yeah.
and then you have a
yeah,
then you have a start of a listserv. I
Yeah.
mean,
Because those
but I
30
need to have
owners,
authorization to give it out, that's the law.
well,
You
probably
know,
those
you can,
30
you're ready to
owners,
sell.
So
when
the
they
law
get
for the
an
data
increase in
is-
maintenance, an
the person
increase
versus
in his
opt in
assessment,
to release
they
or opt
shouldn't come
out
back
to
to
Opt
screen.
in.
But there is a
Yeah.
law, but the law does not enforce that. If you screw it up, nothing happens. So eventually, you don't want to give it up because you and your wife want to be on the board and manage the whole thing.
All right.
Right?
Okay, have you seen, look at this lawsuit here, and it's gonna tell you the rest.
I want
And you can
to,
just read it, and if you think something is wrong,
putting
put your hand
aside
into
the
it, but-
conversation, I want to bring into the finances. And I believe you're the treasurer? Okay, so I have requested by email many times, we have a website where we're able to obtain our financials and any information.
yeah,
I'm not sure if everybody's aware of that, but you can go into the
Yeah, yeah.
website, you log in.
yeah.
It was such a hard time for me to retrieve the financials,
Yeah.
and it's not the board, this case is the management.
Yeah.
How come the management took so long to put August, September?
I don't know, but they're supposed to do it, you should do it in
Shirley,
weekly
how many
manner.
pages are on the website for each month?
For the
The
financials?
How many pages?
Well, the balance sheet is 3, and the P&L is like 3, so like 6, 7.
But that's incomplete package, because usually the package that we use to obtain has all the reporting that is produced to come out to the financial statements. Because as you know, because you're an accountant and professionally trained, the financial statement, it will give
All right,
you
so,
the balance
yeah,
at the end of
we
the
close
month,
this up, I
meaning
guess, because
the
no
total
point.
balance of the
Thanks for
line
your help.
item, but
Okay,
it doesn't give
if you
you
guys
for your
don't
help.
have any more
transactions
questions
put in
for
the
the
fund.
attorney,
So the idea
No,
is to
because
have
this is
all the
not for his
transactions
time.
put in the
Right,
fund,
you're paying for his
including
we're
the
paying for his time
balance.
now.
Yeah.
So
So
if
that's
we
what
have
you posted
questions
on the
related to
website
this
as well.
meeting, anybody has any more, or do you want him to
I
leave?
just want to conclude right now, so I understand you're getting paid. But I would like to know, when I was reviewing them as a financials, it caught my attention the fact that we are paying Sakura, we are allocating it properly, which you probably should know since you're the treasurer. And I would like to know if we have this loan of 1.5 million, what is going to happen with this loan? An assessment? Is it part of this assessment? Are we paying for it right now?
Yeah,
What's
13,000 a
happening?
month in interest. It's a balloon. So on July 1st of 2020, we have to pay new wave loans,
That's why you need a
residential
resolution.
LLC, and $1.5 million in one day. If
That's
we
why you
default,
need a judge's
they
order.
get control of our finances and receivables, and we have to pay 25% in interest.
That's why
You
need
got
a
your
judge's
answers,
order.
Shelley? Are you happy with your answers? This is what happens to all the meetings. It's only one person talking. And I don't see much resolution to these meetings either. We
So
don't
I
even
don't-
get to
like,
give any
again,
information.
We're on a tight budget and we don't want
Yeah,
to
but
take your time
Shelley
because
asked
it
the
doesn't
treasurer-
concern to you.
And
Why-
look who's
why-
answering.
Yeah,
But
but I
Now
mean-
what is he going to do?
Let
Fight
him
with
answer.
Maria every
Let him
meeting?
answer.
Gets a little bit
Okay,
tiring.
let him answer, because I mean, Ellie has been, Shelley has been
Well,
asking
you're
this
not
question
prepared because we're looking
for
for
a
this
long
purpose of
time.
meeting.
Why
So,
aren't the
we need
financial,
to
why isn't the
check.
financial
We can't remember
on
everything at
the
top of my
website?
head, every expense of-
And I asked the same issue, I asked the same question of Evan and I asked you. So
We have to check on that. We will check and get back to you.
Well, somebody
No,
should
no,
be
no, but
taking
would
me
you
to
make a
here.
commitment?
This is not a meeting.
I
This is-
became
this
treasurer
isn't a-
last
this
year,
isn't-
and
Okay,
the loan
Sherry,
was
nobody
this is
here
not
is
before
taking that.
I
Would
said.
you make a commitment to gather that information and share it on the website?
I don't know about the website, but I can take
We're
your
gonna,
email
we're gonna
address.
send, we're gonna send
and-
an email
and I
after
will
the meeting.
reply to you.
So,
We're
yeah,
we're
absolutely.
obligated by law to have that information on our website, I think.
I don't
You
know.
know?
Yes,
I
we're
mean-
obligated.
Yeah, I believe on the website needs to be updated, like if there is a section where it says
So
documents.
first thing tomorrow, I'll call the management company.
Shelley, I can say, I'm sorry, I can say that they were being delayed, the lady who actually produces those, because I was bugging her. Not without you guys asking, but I was bugging. I said, where is this month, where is that month? And she said, oh, well, this month is here, but the other one's not done. So I don't know if she's doing multiple communities at one time, but she's been the one who's been delayed to get them on the website. So I've been behind her, so it's not like
Steven, that's a complete set, because a complete set will include the receivable, it will include the accounts payable,
Okay,
include
we
the
have,
general
I hear
ledger,
you.
the banks, the
I
bank
asked her-
reconciliations, and the bank
So
statements.
if we have a
That's a
legal,
complete set of financial statements.
I asked about that.
Each transaction per
Okay,
day,
Shelley, so that's,
For the whole month.
that's why it's delayed like that. It's not that we're not putting up,
So
if I had it, I
just
would.
to have the website updated, because I like to
Right.
go, when I pay, I
Right,
like to
you
go
wanna
and
look and
see.
see,
And
absolutely.
It's
That is
very easy,
important.
you know,
Agreed.
you come, you see, and pretty
Absolutely.
much.
I agree.
Take care of it.
until, what's his name? The realtor Robert Reeves served 11 months on the board without paying his payments. We were able to get the financial statement, the complete package, 79 pages each. Now, what, they put 4 pages?
Maria-
What are they hiding?
Maria, as a matter of
What
courtesy,
are
I
they
asked
hiding?
you, as a shareholder, if an owner asks a question, I think as a matter of courtesy, you should let them finish the question and let them receive the answer. We don't need.
That's my question. That's my question. Listen, you're 50 questions different every day. That's my question.
Well, you don't want to take it back?
They walked away.
I looked up the news.
I need it today. Tonight, yeah.
Well, it's good to put a face to the name, and I hope it was helpful. And I think it's, I know it's.
No, Frank,
I know it's a We're gonna have certificates every one of these meetings. No, but I think it is, as much of a pain as it is, I think it's better to have more of these town halls. In Michael's defense, you know, we did have this in the works for a while, so we didn't want to get quiet. We didn't want to slam the city.
I know it's gonna hurt him, but at the end of the day, everything they're showing you, every time you ask them, only a matter of time for somebody.
Go and ask Raul. Go and ask Raul.
Large school is operating in good faith, and then there's a big account. The other
I understand, but it has to
We
be.
don't have that right now. If basically your answer is, oh, no, we're going to keep everything very, very close to the back. We're not going to let you know.
And then that's why when you email me, and I respond an email to
We
you,
paid
I can,
200.
there's no tone or anything, there's no way for us to interpret each other. And so I can very much understand why,
Now there is,
you know, it
she's
feels
putting
that
a
way.
thing in
And you guys are
So
staring at
now
this
we
every
can go
day.
and say, hey, that's I can only do
I bring money to my
It's
apartment.
nowhere near 200,000.
It is what we have to do. We have to, Frank, we have to do it. But we have to do it.
Or we replace it with another one and deduct it from the money that they are letting
No,
go.
they're good. Yeah.
So,
Let him tell the story.
The problem is now you told everyone. The police report, there's a demand letter. I mean, you're trying to complete it too, I told everybody.
right, because I thought it was the same, the police report was not.
I have one. I'll take one.
The same day.
I'll take one. No problem.
Tomorrow I'm gonna go up to the city.
I'm here. I'll see too.
Yeah.
Understanding because we're all part of it.
According to.
What is that?
We have a contractual agreement and no money, they do not enter into that kind of business. Because they do have their signature that they took the generator, the police report. We have their three signatures, that's the signature.
Maybe when they get a warrant, they ask you for it. There's no warrant. They all have a signature.
But it's not like everybody can sue them individually, let's say not for a generator, it has to be.
They should take care of that part.
But we do have their signature on one day to the generator. And we have three signatures. And for the purpose of the we asked the lawyer, and he said, no, I don't know for whatever reason. And the demand letter you're referring to, right?
Any
Yes.
At least now I got some proof that there's something that was before. Check his word on the phone, and then, you know, pass through him. I can send him something, and that's what pisses me off.
It's because every time we're asking, give the demand letter to someone who's been asking before you, not knowing that that was not allowed. Somebody asked me before you, and I said, we're here, and I sent it as a picture. That's in the name. I sent him the demand letter, not knowing that that was not allowed. Now you have to turn it, oh, this is not allowed, because then we cannot use the report against it. So it's like, we're always between
Prior back from this guy, when you do take it to court, you can throw this in and say, look.
Of course, and say this is a standard. Yeah, it's done it before.
And it's apparently part of the management.
That's why we trust it, because it was there. That,
You didn't know about this, you said you knew something, but you didn't know about all this.
No, I didn't know about the whole, no.
You know about Aventura, but not about it.
No, because I did my own search apart, but I didn't know what you told me. No idea.
You know about the property transfers, you know about this.
No, what you showed me, I didn't know about that. I was like,
that was like 14 million? It was 11 for one.
11 for Michael,
and they're both on it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
And Michael's wife.
Yeah, and his wife. I was like, what?
That's his wife.
the only name that was in here was Eric. I found one of the search
But this is the thing. We knew Eric, that's how we finished the day. We didn't think they were going to be like, different personalities. Eric and his dad. Eric is super careful, abiding the law, and he's like the complete opposite. That's why we finished
He's the smiling face of the
Eric. And his sister's an attorney, so it's like,
His name is no this Irving guy.
but see, Michael got the biggest one, so that was the brain of it. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even used the word.
Actually,
Irving is just his
Is that
puppet.
it's a joke, right?
11 million, almost 12 million against
The thing was, a lot of them were, it was the same 3 million, and then extra on top. It's like, whoever has the money will grab it. Shooting everybody.
He's just grabbing the money grab.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, this guy was a brain genius.
Yeah, but then they gave his wife, so between him and his wife.
That's what I'm saying, there was a transfer from Michael and
How much his wife?
Mike, yeah.
But that's very common with Jews. They give their children a house when they get married and things like that.
Yeah, it was a quick one.
That's probably, I don't know if that's the case.
Michael's next property, $100,000 thing I bought by him.
How much was like that transfer?
$400,000. That was the price of the house. Yeah, because I look at taxes.
How are they allowed? They owe somebody $15 million. How are they allowed to transfer something? Unless they transferred before the law.
No, that was in, I think, 2014.
I don't think you're allowed to owe somebody.
But the problem is, down here in Florida, if you complain that it's your home, basically it's not your home.
The first home.
Everybody is,
I was looking at this harbor, this city, Airbnb. I think it's bad here. Something that, if it's not your private,
yeah.
On this point, it's like, we look at everything.
you see how bad this is? In DC, they made it worse. They basically said you can't Airbnb unless it's your primary residence. And if it's your secondary, you can't leave it unsupervised more than 90 days out of the year. So basically, you have to be there like it's like a Vermont style Airbnb or you're there. Or you have to have a concierge. They don't have it.
just leave it for the paragraph.
They basically, they try to here make it impossible,
Yeah.
but they want extra stuff.
But it definitely regulates it and keeps it a lot more calm.
It's the usual monopoly.
Oh,
thing.
out the door?
Every
All of
industry,
it? You did?
cable companies,
All of it?
they always have their little taxi. That's what this sounds like.
Yeah, but
I'm trying to.
those documents like everything's ready. If you request not even you need to have somebody from the city.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
Tony,
Once they don't make you.
70 pages is nothing. You're going to
Especially once they buy the property right next to it.
Don't give me that crap, okay?
Yes, we're just saying that
Okay,
the
so what
finance.
we want is a financial statement that will show what's the beginning balance, what is each transaction every day of the month, and the final balance. And then you have an actual picture of what the business transaction of Bayshore has happened.
And I need to know,
Okay, so put it down.
and I need to know
We'll
what you
expect that.
guys want me to tell
We'll
them.
expect that.
But like
And
a
if you want,
monthly
I can
informing
send you
people
an
that say,
email.
Well, if I know something that's happened, I can do that. I was asking Michelle about that, and he said he'll help me with that. So I said, that's fine.
You know what would be the simplest for you guys to do?
What's that?
Put a link to it right there in the room, there's a QR code.
Yep.
Make it this read only, and you dump it, whatever documents you're required to do, whatever you want to do, and you keep it exposed, they can see it from the phone, the computer, or whatever. Everybody can have access to Dropbox.
what we had before, there was on the website before, those.
But this way they don't have to log in or nothing, they just.
Yeah, and then it was there was right on the website, everything. There's like the monthly newsletter that needs to be before.
On the website.
Yeah, it needs to be also on the website. Something like that. What time is it?
I'm back.